Imagine you are a man who spent his entire life lifting others upward. He gave his strength, his opportunities, everything to the people he trusted the most. But just when he was about to reach the greatest peak of his life, those same 9 empresses, for whom he had sacrificed everything, joined hands, betrayed him, and left him to die. Fate, however, granted him a second chance. He did not die. He regressed and returned to the past, and not only him, the 9 empresses also returned with all their memories. But this time, the story is not about survival. This time, the question is only one: without my help, how far can you all rise? In Chapter 1, we are shown the scene of the pinnacle located at the very top of the 9 heavens. Greenery spreads in every direction, shining mountains glow, and spiritual energy floats through the sky, raising this place to an entirely different level. The atmosphere is so calm and beautiful that it feels as if this land was never meant for ordinary humans. Near the enormous gate of a luxurious sect standing on this pinnacle, an old man announces loudly that today our Nine-Lives Venerable will prove his Tao and achieve sagehood through ascension. He declares that after attaining sagehood, he will achieve his fully deserved position within the 9 heavens. This, he says, is not only a blessing for him but for the entire sect and all its people. The old man continues that today you will witness a moment that you may never see again in your lifetime. This will be a monumental feat, and being able to watch it with your own eyes will be your greatest fortune. Then he proclaims with respect that we should welcome our heavenly venerable 9-life and begin the tribulation. As soon as he finishes speaking, the massive sect gate slowly opens, and our MC steps out with his queens. His walk, his expression, and his entire aura feels so stable and powerful that the surrounding crowd automatically falls silent. Honestly, at first glance, his presence does not feel bad at all. Rather, it creates a different kind of pressure. But some disciples standing behind, seeing the MC's grandeur, begin to whisper rude comments among themselves. Hearing this, the elders nearby immediately grow strict and scold them angrily, telling them to keep their mouths shut and learn to respect their seniors. The elders warn clearly that if this man's mind even slightly turns, his power is so terrifying that he alone can wipe out their entire clan. They remind them that in the past he fought the Yao clan alone and even annihilated the whole demon domain by himself. Hearing this, the disciples' faces turn pale and silence spreads everywhere. Meanwhile, the tribulation has fully begun. The sky roars, lightning crashes, and the entire area fills with tribulation energy. Our main character, without any hesitation, walks confidently straight toward the center of the tribulation, challenging it directly. Not for a moment does he show fear or doubt. Everyone watching is stunned. Then suddenly, from inside the tribulation, an elder figure slowly emerges. His mere presence makes the atmosphere heavier. Seeing this, even the MC is briefly surprised, because such a scene is rarely witnessed. A girl says in a trembling voice that this is Heavenly Venerable Gujing, one of the top-ranked tribulations existing for centuries. Many people grow afraid, but some elders still believe that our 9-life Venerable is invincible and no tribulation can stop him. Calmly, the MC asks Gujing if they should begin the battle. Gujing, with a straight face, replies, "Start." The fight begins. Their clash is so intense that even space starts to distort. Explosions echo, lights flash, and it feels as if the sky itself will break apart. Yet strangely, the empresses behind the MC show no worry at all. Their expressions remain normal. Instead, they whisper to each other that they had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Their words carry not fear but a strange confidence. Then Gujing uses the Tao of Time. The elders become serious and explain that because of this technique, Gujing's clones will travel through multiple timelines and hunt the MC in each one. If Gujing succeeds even in a single timeline, the MC's real body here will suffer fatal damage. Tension spreads everywhere. Seeing this move, one Empress's face changes strangely, and an evil aura seems to leak from her, as if her true intention can no longer stay hidden. Yet the MC remains calm and says casually that this move is indeed impressive. Then he adds that he must apologize, because in every timeline he has always been an unrivaled existence. But Gujing reveals that he has already destroyed the MC in all timelines. Laughing coldly, he mocks him for praising himself, and says he has killed him in every era. Hearing this, the MC feels as if his soul has been struck. His body trembles, his strength fades, and he collapses to the ground in severe injury, confused about how this happened. Gyujing explains that although the MC's strength is extraordinary, the yin-yang Dao devouring goo had already rooted inside his body. That is why Gyujing could kill him so easily in every timeline. The MC suddenly realizes the truth and slowly turns toward his empresses. He asks in a heavy voice, "Don't tell me you knew nothing about this." But the sight before him is horrifying. All the empresses burst into laughter, as if his misery is a joke. It is revealed that this goo is formless and can only be implanted through yin-yang union. Gyujing says coldly that the result was clear from the start. He knew the MC valued loyalty and emotions deeply, and those same women he loved betrayed him. One empress laughs loudly and says there was never love. They only lived in terror because of his power and wanted freedom. Another reminds him of phone books and says she could have lived a normal happy life if not for him. The atmosphere completely changes. The empresses activate their powers to kill him, twisting all facts to paint themselves as victims and him as a devil. The MC's mind shatters. Rage and pain burn in his eyes. He roars that without him none of them could even touch the title of Empress. He had treated them above humans, never imagining such betrayal. As he prepares to attack them, Gyujing strikes from behind. The MC groans that if he must die, he will take them all with him. The empresses panic, screaming that he is detonating his cultivation base and will kill everyone. Gyujing watches coldly and says defeating him while poisoned was an honorless victory. Perhaps he deserves another chance. He uses his time whirlpool and drags the MC and all 8 empresses inside, smiling that they should come to the next round together. Then Gyujing unleashes the time and space reversal technique, sending the souls of the MC and the 8 empresses 50 years into the past. The scene shifts to the past. The MC, Louis, looks around in shock. Everything feels familiar yet different. In front of him stands his first empress, Hong Ling, who in the future would become the Sword Maiden of 9 heavens but now is only a humble servant. Her head spins from the regression. Seeing the MC, she screams in terror, calling him Devil Master and wondering if she has returned to the past. Louis smiles slightly, realizing she has also returned with memories. He thanks Gyujing in his heart for the second chance. Then he calmly removes his socks. The Sword Maiden is confused. Louis extends his feet and says casually, "Wash my feet." She is stunned, yet silently begins washing them, her hands trembling. Louis thinks he could kill her now, but death is not the cruelest punishment. He will let her live, so she can experience the absolute misery of a life without him. He tells her calmly that none of this was a dream, they have truly returned to the past. She is shocked and asks, "We all?" Louis cuts her off and says everything is real. Gyujing's technique brought them back, and he remembers every word she spoke that day. Her arrogance still remains and she asks, "So what now?" Louis smiles with an evil glint and says only one word, "Enough." Then he declares, "You wanted freedom, didn't you? From this moment onward, you are free." Louis stands up and opens a drawer kept nearby. From inside, he takes out a token and, showing it to the Sword Maiden, says, "Look at this carefully." "What is it?" The Sword Maiden replies with slight hesitation. This is my life tablet." The very next moment, Louis, without any expression, burns that life tablet right there. With a brief flash of fire, the tablet turns into ashes. Louis says in a cold tone, "There, you see? I have burned the contract tablet. From now on, you are completely free. Whenever you want, you can return to your true sword manner." Seeing this, the Sword Maiden becomes shocked, yet she still composes herself and speaks in a straight tone. "Louis, you had 9 lives, yet in your first life, why did you choose to self-destruct?" But Louis no longer wishes to keep any kind of relation with her. His face hardens. He turns toward her angrily and says, "Mind your own business and get lost from here." Hearing this, the Sword Maiden also begins to leave without stopping. While walking away, she says in a cold voice, "Fine. Now that we all have been reborn, I swear that this time I will give you a truly miserable end. As she walks, she thinks to herself, Louis, I possess an innate sword body. If none of this had happened because of you, my life would have been far more glorious. Stepping outside, she says in an emotional tone, Father, mother, brother, your daughter is finally coming back. From behind, Louis watches her walking toward the Chu manor with such emotional steps. The same evil smile rises on his face again, and he murmurs slowly, A father, a shameless mother, a trash brother, and this poor girl. He thinks further. Once you return, you will understand what a true devil's cave really is. In this life, I am absolutely not going to show them any mercy. The chains of those 8 women will no longer bind me. No matter what happens, I will definitely ascend to an even higher realm. Just as the MC is about to close the door of the room, suddenly, with a loud bang, the door shatters. A long leg kicks straight inside and attacks him directly. The moment Louis sees this, only one name echoes in his mind, Fairy Red Silk. But the next second he corrects himself. No, in this life her name is still Hong Ling. Then we clearly see that the girl who broke the door and entered is none other than her. Filled with rage, Hong Ling stands before the MC and shouts his name. Without thinking for even a second, she attacks him and screams, Today I will definitely kill you! But Louis's strength is far beyond her level. Without using any technique, he grabs her neck with one hand, lifts her into the air, and hangs her upside down by her own leg. Hong Ling cannot even understand how everything happened so quickly. Louis slowly moves closer to her and says in a deadly tone, You still dare to strike at me? He locks her so tightly that Hong Ling cannot even move her hands or legs. In a frightened, stammering voice she says, What are you doing? But Louis has no intention of doing much to her. He already knows that this girl's fate ahead is not going to be special either. He says coldly, Today you will fix my door with your own hands. And if you fail to do so, I will twist your neck and end your life right here. Even though she is completely locked, Hong Ling still says in a trembling voice, I refuse. If none of this had happened because of you, I would be with Foamwux right now. Hearing this, Louis laughs lightly and replies, Then in this life too, if you hope to find him, you will have to give your best try, won't you? The moment she hears this, Hong Ling's face tightens. Fear spreads through her entire body and she says while trembling, I will fix it. I will repair the door. Please let me go. But Louis tightens his grip on her neck even more. At that moment Hong Ling thinks in her mind, Damn it, even after returning to the past, I am still no match for him. As soon as she completely gives up, Louis throws her to the ground like an insect and says in a harsh voice, Now get to work. And if I don't find this door fixed when I return, you are finished. Hong Ling somehow gathers herself and stands up. In anger and helplessness, she shouts at the MC, Louis, at least in our past life we were Tao companions. How can you treat me like this? Hearing this, Louis's face remains emotionless. In an ice-cold tone he replies, That was in the past. In this life, you and I are nothing to each other. Those words hit Hong Ling like a thunderbolt. Anger, humiliation, and helplessness appear clearly on her face. She has nothing left to say, and the scene changes from here. Now we are shown a beautiful garden area. Colorful flowers bloom all around, the atmosphere is peaceful, and faint spiritual energy flows in the air. Louis walks into this garden. Here, an extremely angelic and beautiful woman is taking care of the plants. This is Bai Tsulong. The moment Louis steps into this place, Bai Tsulong immediately senses him. She looks forward, and Louis respectfully greets her, calling her master. But seeing Louis, Bai Tsulong's expression suddenly changes. She asks directly in surprise, Why do you have only one life left now? Hearing such a direct question from his master, Louis hesitates for a moment. Scratching his head lightly, he says, This disciple's skills were somewhat lacking. During a cultivation session, to force a breakthrough, I merged my 9 lives into one. That is why only one life remains now. Bai Tsulong's anger becomes visible. Looking at him sternly, she says, I have found a way to suppress the Chaotian power. So forget the events of the past life as just a dream. We will never allow those things to happen again, she adds in a sharper voice. And if such filthy and treacherous thoughts ever arise in your mind again, I will not hesitate for even a moment to erase your existence from this sect. Louis replies calmly. This disciple will carve Master's teachings in his heart. Outwardly he appears obedient, but inside he laughs lightly and thinks, do you really believe you found a method? If I had not transferred the ocean poison into my own body, do you think you could ever have ascended as a Tian Empress? Here we clearly understand that Bai Tsulong was also one of the MC's Empresses in the past life, now appearing as his master. The scene changes again. The MC is sitting alone on a mountain peak. Looking at the sky and the world below, he says to himself, no, my cultivation base has fallen back to the 5th stage of chi condensation. It seems I must grind everything from zero again. Then he whispers, old friend, are you still with me? Immediately a system notification opens before him. 3 options appear: cultivation, deduction, enlightenment. A robotic voice echoes, I am here, host. What do you need? Hearing this voice, Louis feels a strange relief. Smiling lightly, he says, thank goodness, you came with me too. But wait, do you no longer need energy to operate? With a soft ding sound, the voice replies, I have now become the heavenly Tao itself. Why would I need energy? Louis nods and says, true, but as heavenly Tao, haven't you become a bit too ruthless? He complains, was it really necessary to drop the most dangerous top-tier tribulation of all eras on my head? The calm, merciless voice answers, absolutely necessary. After all, you are my host. Preparing the ultimate challenge is my duty. Louis's face falls. He says dryly, thanks a lot. Then taking a deep breath, he says, fine, let's begin cultivation. The system ignores his sarcasm and replies casually, you are welcome. Initiating the cultivation of the 9-life undying heavenly scripture. The scene shifts to the Sword Maiden. Outside the Chu Sword Manor, long stairs appear. The exhausted Sword Maiden climbs them step by step. Every stair feels like a test, yet somehow she reaches the top. Standing before the manor, she says breathlessly, Father, Mother, I have returned. Her eyes become moist, believing everything will be fine now. But the guard at the gate sees her and becomes shocked. He thinks, is this really the eldest miss? Why has she returned? He blocks her path and shouts harshly, where did this beggar crawl up from? Trash like you has no place in the Chu Sword Manor. Get lost. The Sword Maiden becomes confused and says, I am not a beggar. I am the eldest Miss, Chu Ling. Seeing she does not retreat, the guard draws his sword and yells, shameless rat. How dare you disguise as the eldest Miss? Suddenly Chu Ling grabs the blade with her bare hand and says emotionally, Chu Si, look at me carefully. I am Chu Ling. You used to carry me in your arms and buy me candies, remember? But the guard shakes her hand off and shouts, you don't have the blood of the Chu family. Why did you come back? Inside he panics, thinking she barely escaped that devil's den. Why return to throw herself into the grave again? Chu Ling cries that though not biological, her parents treated her as true flesh and blood. Hearing this, another guard realizes the truth and shouts, This really is the eldest Miss. Chu Ling has returned. Chaos spreads in the manor. The manor lord, her so-called father, rushes out with fake concern, followed by his wife. Chu Ling runs and hugs her father, crying, Father, I am back. Her mother wipes her tears with false affection and asks where she was. Chu Ling says she was held hostage by the Great Tao sect and escaped secretly. At that moment the man arrives and seeing Chu Ling, his legs tremble. He thinks in relief, thank goodness, my scapegoat has returned. Now I will survive. This man is Chu Sifei, Chu Ling's elder brother. The scene shifts to chapter 2 and back to Louis. He cultivates with full concentration. We are told this is the first heaven, the weakest world, divided into many realms: prenatal, postnatal, chi gathering, origin core, shattering, infant void, refining, and Tao integration. With past life experience, Lewis cultivates for 15 days and reaches the 9th layer of chi refining, then begins origin core formation. But suddenly he feels something wrong. His chest grows heavy, breathing falters, and he coughs blood. He mutters, "What is happening? Only half of my chi is helping core formation, the rest feels like stone." After analysis, the system announces, "Celestial rigidity poison detected inside your body." Lewis grits his teeth, realizing those women not only used the yin-yang goo but also planted this poison as insurance so he could never rise again. But his eyes turn cold and he says, "They don't know. I still have one trump card left." He asks the system for a method. The system replies that after breaking through to origin core and converting true chi into true essence, the poison will dissolve. Lewis remembers that in the past he created a perfect return to origin pill which could force the breakthrough. But that pill was gifted to Hong Ling in the previous life. His fists clench. In this life, nothing like that will happen. Suddenly movement appears in the sky. A giant crane announces that Hong Ling has reached chi-gathering perfection in just 1 month and 17 days, breaking the sect record. As a reward she receives a bottle of supreme-grade return to origin pills. Lewis narrows his eyes with a dangerous smile. As expected from a future empress, her speed is terrifying. Even with the system, I am only 2 days ahead. Without wasting a second, he leaps down from the peak. The system asks, "Host, where are you going?" Lewis answers calmly, "To the tomb of a void refining expert. I am going to reclaim the return to origin pill that rightfully belongs to me." After this, our scene changes. Now we are shown the inside of an ancient tomb located in the middle of a dense forest, about 500 kilometers away from Trade Dao. The air in this place feels heavy, and an eerie silence is spread in every direction. Walking through the depths of this same tomb, Hong Ling has already arrived there. As she steps inside, she thinks to herself, "According to the memories of my previous life, people are going to discover this place only after 1 full month. That means right now, I am completely alone here." Showing full confidence, Hong Ling enters a cave. She opens the door lying in front of her and begins to move forward through a narrow passage. While walking, only one thought circles inside her mind, that the most precious treasures of this place are hidden right here. She thinks that among these treasures is a fragment of the 9 lives and dying heavenly scripture, and along with it, a perfect return to origin pill. Moving ahead with fast steps, she finally reaches in front of those treasures. First, she picks up the 9-life heavenly scripture and, smiling with great happiness, says, "Senior brother, this time I am 1 step ahead of you." But the moment she opens the scripture and looks inside, her eyes remain wide open in shock. In the very next second, her entire face turns pale. She falls into complete disbelief. We are shown that inside that scripture, written calmly and lovingly in Lewis's handwriting, are the words, "Bitch, you are too late." And not only that, along with it, there are peacefully drawn golden sketches as well. Seeing all this, Hong Ling's voice begins to tremble. Stammering, she says, This. Suddenly, in furious anger, she throws the book onto the ground and screams, "Lewis, you son of a bitch!" The moment the book hits the floor, dozens of yellow-colored golden laser lights activate inside the entire tomb and surround her from all sides. Seeing this, Hong Ling becomes completely terrified. Looking upward, she shouts loudly, "Lewis! Let me get out of here!" But no matter how much she screams, there is no one there to hear her voice. The tomb remains utterly silent. After this, our scene changes once again. Now we are shown the scene 3 days later. We see Hong Ling, filled with extreme anger, coming straight toward the MC's house. Without stopping, she barges inside and kicks the door open. The moment she enters, she yells, "You! Get your backside out here!" As we can see, her body is covered with many wounds and injuries. Scratches and marks are visible everywhere. Though it does not seem that the injuries are life-threatening, it is clear that she has suffered a lot in these 3 days. That is why she came here so angrily without thinking at all. By the way, in this series, most of the characters' names sound almost the same to me, so changing the name a little feels better. Her real name is Hong Ling, but from now on we will call her the Angry Woman. And honestly, there could not be a more perfect name for her than this. This angry woman tries to break into the MC's house and, without taking a breath, starts shouting at him. But suddenly, an energy palm attack arrives and strikes directly on her stomach. A loud scream escapes from her mouth, and her body flies into the air and falls far away. Sliding across the ground, she crashes into the courtyard of the MC's house. Groaning in pain, she grinds her teeth and lets out cries of, "Ah!" Then, from the front, a calm yet cold voice comes. "Did your mother never teach you that before entering someone's house, you should knock on the door?" Hearing this, the angry woman is badly startled. Spitting fire in her mind, she thinks, "Louis, you are going too far now. I would rather die than bow before you." But all this she could only think inside her head. In reality, she could only chew her teeth and hair in rage. The truth was that at this moment she needed Louis, and when there is need, even pride has to be swallowed. That is why she somehow controls herself, stands up, and this time, knocking on the door politely, says, "Senior brother, please, can you open the door?" From inside, without any hesitation, a voice replies, "Get lost from here." Hearing this, the angry woman's blood boils even more. She starts banging the door loudly and shouts, "Did you take the perfect return to origin pill from inside that tomb?" But the answer to her question does not come in words. The door opens by itself, and at the same moment, several energy attacks rush out and hit her one after another. Due to the direct hits, her body is thrown away again. However, this time she somehow manages to maintain her balance. Taking a deep breath, she tries to calm herself and thinks, "Stay calm, don't get angry, keep it all inside." Then, grinding her teeth, she asks once more, "I am asking you for the last time. Did you take the perfect return to origin pill from that tomb?" From inside comes the same calm and merciless voice of the MC. "No. Now get lost from here." Hearing this, the angry woman completely loses her patience. Rage fills her eyes, energy bursts from her body, and activating her powers, she rushes straight to attack Louis. She screams, "You have the courage to take it, but not the courage to admit it. Louis, now I will fight you to the death." But just then, suddenly the MC's master appears in front of her. She releases her aura, and in that very moment all of Hong Ling's movements are locked in place. Her voice carries depth and pressure as she says, "Hong Ling, calm down." Hearing this, all of Hong Ling's anger vanishes as if blown away by wind. Her face changes, and in a trembling voice she says, "Master." The next second, she falls to her knees and starts crying bitterly like a child. She wails, "Master, he hit me." Sobbing, she exaggerates everything as if all the fault belongs to the other side. After hearing all this, her master slowly turns toward the MC and asks in a strict voice, "Louis, why did you raise your hand on your own junior sister?" Here one thing needs to be clarified. In the previous episode I had said that this master might have been the MC's wife in his previous life. But looking at the reactions and behavior so far, that does not seem clear at all. The story has not confirmed anything like that, and her expressions also do not indicate such a relationship. Yes, it does feel that as a master she knows that the MC had 9 lives before and now only 1 remains. Perhaps that is why she understands that the MC has returned to the past carrying all the anger of his previous lives. The rest of the truth we will know as the story moves forward. For now, let us continue the story. When his master asks this question, Louis opens his eyes and replies angrily, "She barged in without knocking. She has no manners at all." Hearing Louis's words, his master does not argue much. She calmly walks toward Hong Ling, helps her stand, and says in a gentle voice, "But still, after all, she is your junior sister. Let this matter end here." Then looking at Hong Ling, she asks, "By the way, why did you come to Louis today?" Hearing this, the angry woman points directly at the MC and says loudly, "He took the perfect return to origin pill. He has no use for it, so I wanted to trade something with him for it." Hearing her words, Louis's master turns to the MC and says in a softer tone, "Louis, your aptitude is exceptional. You absolutely do not need the perfect return to origin pill. Why don't you give it to your junior sister? If you need anything else, I can provide it to you. Even after such calm and reasonable persuasion, Louis's expression does not change at all. Sitting in the same attitude, he replies coldly, Sorry, but I also need this perfect return to origin pill. Hearing this, Hong Ling flares up again and shouts, What nonsense are you talking about, Louis? Do you really think that without this pill I cannot condense my origin core? Due to her constant shouting, Louis's concentration breaks. He slowly gets down, puts his hand inside his sleeve, and takes out the same return to origin pill. Then he lets out a deep breath. Seeing this, his master's face brightens, and she happily says, There we go. That's a good boy. She is about to praise him more when the atmosphere suddenly changes again. At that very moment, the MC gives a slight smile. With a "heh" sound, he throws the pill directly into his mouth and chews it in front of his master before swallowing it. Seeing this, his master is badly shocked. Her eyes widen and she says sternly, Louis, why did you do this? Your master is very disappointed. Before she can say anything further, the angry woman standing there explodes in rage. Grinding her teeth, she turns back and screams while leaving. Louis, just wait. I will condense my secret core and take full revenge for this humiliation. Seeing her open hostility, the master's face becomes even heavier. Taking a deep breath, she says, I know you still have a lot of anger inside you. But was it really necessary to go this extreme? With this disappointed expression, the scene changes. Now we are shown the scene of the Sword Manor. Here the Sword Maiden is sitting comfortably while someone is feeding her with a spoon. Her mother, in a sweet and loving voice, says, Your mother steamed this emerald rice congee with her own hands, only for you. Taste it and tell me if it is good. As soon as the Sword Maiden eats it, her face lights up. With happiness and emotion, she says, Thank you, mother. In this whole world, only you treat me the best. I never want to leave your and father's side in this life. Hearing this, her mother smiles slightly and asks playfully, Really? Even more than your birth parents? The Sword Maiden replies with a smile. They disappeared right after giving birth to me. How can they be compared with your treatment? Hearing this, her mother laughs softly and says, All right, that's enough. Now hurry and rest a little. The Sword Maiden gently replies, But her mother, inside her heart, is laughing in a strange way, a very relieved and eerie laughter. She thinks, We are saved. We are finally saved. Now our entire family is safe. On the other side, the Sword Maiden suddenly begins to feel extremely sleepy. Her eyes grow heavy, and in a hesitant voice she asks, Mother, why am I suddenly feeling so sleepy? Then her mother slowly turns back with the same sweet yet cold voice and says, If you feel sleepy, just sleep a little. The moment she says this, the Sword Maiden loses control over her body. Overwhelmed by drowsiness, she cannot even hold herself and collapses onto the bed. Holding her head in pain, she thinks, Today everything feels so strange. Why am I feeling such strong sleepiness? This uncomfortable feeling has never happened before. Forcing herself, she releases her aura and commands internally, Circulate Great Lotus Sword Scripture. Tell me what is wrong with my body. But the moment she sees the result, her heart sinks. She trembles in shock. Have I been poisoned? How is this possible? Could it be because of the emerald rice congee? Just then, a knock comes at the door. A voice asks, Have you already fallen asleep? Confused and scared, she immediately lies down, pulls the blanket over herself, and pretends to be deeply asleep. The door slowly opens. Her mother enters with 3 other people. This time her voice holds no sweetness. In a cold, heavy tone she says, Good. The poison has started working. Now we can begin our task. One of the 3 steps forward. It is none other than the Sword Maiden's own brother. Smiling at his mother, he says, Mother, you are truly as impressive as people say. The older the ginger, the spicier the spice. Mother and son both stare at the Sword Maiden with deadly eyes. The mother says coldly, Come, lift her and deliver her to our old ancestor. The brother laughs frighteningly. But they have no idea that the Sword Maiden is still conscious. She hears everything clearly. Every word pierces her heart like a knife. Hearing such horrifying things from her own mother and brother shatters her completely. Tears flow silently from her eyes. She cries inside, screams inside, but her body betrays her. At that moment she realizes, the home she believed was the safest place in the world has become the most dangerous cage of her life. We are shown that two servants were carrying the Sword Maiden and moving forward in one direction. And right behind them, the entire family of the Sword Maiden was also walking along. Just then, the Sword Maiden's father calls one of the servants and asks him, "Did you take care of Chuzi?" This Chuzi is the same guard who had stopped the Sword Maiden from entering at the beginning. The servant replies, "My lord, we have completely taken care of Chuzi and his family. Not a single survivor remains." Hearing about that servant, the main lord's eyebrows rise in irritation, and he says coldly, "Excellent. I never even imagined that a mere servant could ruin my grand design." Then, snorting angrily, he looks sideways at his son and says, "If she had not suddenly run back here to end her own life, you would have been the one offered in the sword sacrifice. Your life was spared this time, so take this as a lesson. Stop wasting your days in alcohol and indulgence, and use your brain for once." But there is a saying, like father, like son. His son blows away all his father's expectations into thin air and, breathing in relief, says, "Yes, father, I was wrong. I promise from now on I will cultivate properly with full effort." These people had no idea that the Sword Maiden was hearing all their words clearly. Listening to them say that she had returned only to lose her life, she begins to cry bitterly inside. She realizes that she had been raised only to be used as a sacrifice for this very purpose. Then, from behind, her brother looks at her with drooling eyes and, with a dark expression, says, "Since she is going to die anyway, why don't I have a little fun with her first? I will only take half an hour." But instead of slapping him in anger, his father merely grabs his ear and pulls it hard while shouting, "What kind of filthy nonsense are you speaking? If nothing else, she is your sister in name. Don't throw the reputation of my Chu Sword Manor into the trash." Groaning in pain, the son replies, "Dad, it hurts. Besides, she is just the child of two dead slaves. Sharing a name does not make us blood relatives." Hearing this, the Sword Maiden receives another massive shock. Trembling inside, she thinks, "So you people murdered my biological parents as well?" Just then, the Sword Maiden's mother approaches her father with a smile and says, "Come on, she is going to die anyway. Why not let our son stay with her for 1 hour?" Her father looks at her sharply and replies, "Absolutely not. We cannot delay the old ancestor's sword refining even for a moment, or our entire family will face his wrath." Seeing even her so-called mother speaking such vile words, the Sword Maiden feels an unbearable rage rising inside her. She thinks, "I treated her like my own mother my entire life, and yet she can say such disgusting things about me." Regret floods her heart, and she whispers in her mind, "Louis, is this the truth you were trying to protect me from? Is this the reason you never allowed me to return home?" She begins to remember scenes from her past, scenes that once never felt painful but had now turned into poison. She recalls the days when she was training dangerously with Louis, training so harsh that many times her life was truly at risk. Covered in sweat, blood, and pain, she had begged him trembling, "Young master, I beg you, please let me go. I miss my parents so much." At that time Louis had looked at her and smiled slightly, but there was no humor in his eyes. Comforting her, he had said, "They are not even your biological parents, then why are you in such a hurry to go back?" Hearing this, the Sword Maiden had puffed her cheeks in anger, turned her face away stubbornly, and said, "They treat me better than even my birth parents ever would." Seeing her sulk like that, Louis had laughed softly and replied, all right. Just wait until I finish refining that sword. After that, I will personally take you back home." She had come close to him and said in a sweet voice, "Young master, what nonsense are you saying? What kind of sword takes so long to refine? You are definitely trying to coax me like a child to keep me here." Then the scene shifts. When the Sword Maiden finally reached Chu Sword Manor, The sight before her burned her entire world. The whole manor was engulfed in flames. Smoke everywhere, screams, the stench of burning wood. Her legs had given up, and she had collapsed on her knees crying, "Dad! Mom! I came too late." From that very moment, hatred for Louis had been born in her heart. She had sworn inside, "Louis, all this happened because of you. I will take revenge on you." But now, hearing and seeing the real truth, only regret remained inside her. Her heart was completely broken. She thought painfully, "Louis, the sword you were talking about was actually a demonic sword." With this thought, the scene changes again. At the same time, on the other side, our MC was watching this entire scene in HD quality with the help of the system. Every word, every sound, every intention was clear to him. The system says in a cold voice, "Host, it is truly a shame that she is unconscious right now and cannot hear the Chu family's words." Louis smiles lightly while watching all this. Laughing at the system's comment, he says, "How can a person who returned from the great emperor realm fall unconscious from a mere sleeping drug? Right now she is simply refusing to accept reality herself." The system asks, "Host, are you thinking of saving her?" Hearing this, Louis changes his position lazily, like a spectator in a theater, and says with a smile, "Save her? The satisfaction I get from seeing her suffer like this cannot be compared to anything else. After all, this is the return of an Emperor Realm being. Now she does not need me to save her." The scene changes once more. Now we see everyone moving toward the sword forging grounds. The entire atmosphere is becoming heavy and terrifying. The Chu family reaches in front of a massive mansion. The Sword Maiden is laid on the ground, and the whole family kneels behind her. Her father greets the ancestor respectfully. A shadow appears in front of the mansion and slowly becomes clear. It is an old man, Chu Kaixing, the old ancestor of Chu Sword Manor. Hearing the greeting, he slowly opens his eyes and looks at the Sword Maiden lying before him. Observing her body with one glance, he says with cold satisfaction, "Excellent, now hand her over to me." He stands up and orders, "Chetian and Chef, you two stay here and witness the completion of this demonic sword ceremony." Hearing this, the father and brother bow and thank the ancestor. The old ancestor moves forward and lights a fire beneath a massive cauldron. Inside the cauldron, a sword floats in the air. At first glance no one could tell it was demonic, but the moment one feels its aura, it becomes clear that this is a terrifying and purely demonic existence. Staring at the sword greedily, the old ancestor laughs. "This demonic sword has consumed more than 30 years of my life blood. Now only the final step remains." The Sword Maiden's father congratulates him. "Once you refine this sword, you will directly ascend to the Shattering Infant Realm." The old ancestor raises his hand and says, "Let us begin." Black fiery swords form in the air and move toward the demonic sword. The ritual begins. The demonic sword reacts, the entire area trembles, and the ancestor chants strange incantations. Then he commands coldly, "Sacrifice to this sword." At that moment, the Sword Maiden's father lifts her in his arms and walks forward, saying emotionlessly, "Today you serve as the sword sacrifice for our Chu clan. Raising you for so many years was not in vain." There is no regret in his voice, no hesitation, only cold utility. Without wasting a second, he throws the Sword Maiden directly into the blazing cauldron. She falls into the raging flames. The heat tears through the air, yet not a single scream leaves her mouth. Her brother watches with his tongue out and says disgustingly, "What a waste, such a tragic waste." But then something happens that no one had imagined. Despite falling into the fire cauldron, the Sword Maiden is smiling. There is no pain on her face, only a strange calm and cruelty. Suddenly she reacts, spits out blood, and that blood flies straight onto the demonic sword. The moment her blood touches it, terrifying flames erupt from the sword. The vibrations multiply, as if the sword has come alive. Seeing this, her father panics. What is happening?" And right before his eyes, the demonic sword disappears in a blur and appears directly in the Sword Maiden's hands. The sword's energy begins to support her. The flames no longer burn her, instead they lift her. She floats inside the cauldron and looks straight at the old ancestor, no pain in her eyes, only murderous intent. The old ancestor is shocked. Her brother screams, "Dad, she's not dead!" The ancestor trembles. How is this possible? But before he can react, she rushes forward at full speed, aiming to pierce his chest in one strike. He hurriedly pulls out a green sword and shouts, "Damn it!" Yet the moment his sword collides with her demonic blade, it shatters instantly. His body is thrown back. He yells, "You cannot use such a demonic sword." Before he can finish, her blade moves like a venomous snake, and in the next second his head is separated from his body. Blood rains everywhere. Flicking the blood from her sword, she says coldly, "Demonic swords are forged to slaughter demons." Her anger has reached its peak. Betrayal, regret, and rage have burned her heart completely. She had waited for her family for 2 lifetimes, trusted them with every breath, and this was the result. Now only hatred remained. Now the Sword Maiden begins to walk toward her own father, her entire body burning with rage. Her steps are heavy, but her intention is crystal clear. Seeing her approach, her father becomes so terrified that his legs start trembling uncontrollably. The color drains from his face. He immediately falls to his knees, stretching his shaking hands forward as he stammers, "Why are you really Chu Ling?" No, you can't be Chu Ling." But Chu Ling is no longer in a state to listen to anyone. She has gone completely mad with fury. Killing intent pours out of her body, making the air itself feel heavy and suffocating. With a cold, expressionless face she stops right in front of him and, in a slow yet terrifying voice, asks, "Why? I treated all of you like my closest family. I trusted you with closed eyes. Then why did you do all this to me?" Her father doesn't even have the courage to answer her question. Trembling in fear, he blurts out, "Chu Ling, look how powerful you've become now. We don't need to sacrifice you for any sword anymore. Come, let's go home together. Everything will be fine." But Chu Ling has already seen his true face. She lets out a faint laugh, a laugh filled with both pain and hatred. Pulling out her sword, she says coldly, "You are not even worthy to take my name with that filthy mouth." Without a single moment of hesitation, she swings her blade. In one strike, her father's head flies into the air, blood spraying everywhere like a fountain. At that moment, Chu Ling looks exactly like a demon, ready to cut down anything that stands in her path without mercy. After that, she turns around. In front of her stands her so-called brother. The moment his eyes meet Chu Ling's, he is struck with terror. He steps back, his lips trembling. Looking at him with icy eyes, Chu Ling says, "Now as for you, you animal." Her brother immediately interrupts, dropping to his knees and banging his head on the ground repeatedly. Yes, I'm an animal. Just treat me like a dog and let me go. Please don't kill me." But in the blink of an eye, Chu Ling's sword moves again. His neck is severed instantly, and his body collapses to the ground. Chu Ling says without any emotion, "You are worse than a dog." At a distance, her mother, who still had no idea about the fate of her husband and son, becomes confused seeing the scene. All she can see is Chu Ling walking out of the sword forging grounds alone with a sword in her hand. Her steps are calm, her face emotionless, but behind her lies a tale of death and blood. Shocked, her mother walks forward and asks in confusion, "Chu Ling, how did you come out? And the others, where are they?" Chu Ling keeps walking without stopping, without even looking at her. As she passes beside her mother, she answers in a cold voice, "Who exactly are you talking about?" Her mother grows even more nervous and hurriedly says, "Your father, your brother, your family." Hearing this, Chu Ling suddenly stops. She slowly turns back. There is no anger in her eyes now, only an empty, chilling coldness. "I don't have any family anymore," she says. The next instant her sword flashes. With a single stroke, her mother's head is separated from her body. Blood scatters into the air, but this time there is no hatred or rage on Chu Ling's face, only a lifeless calm. In a flat voice she says, "Why don't you go and join them? Without looking back even once, she walks ahead and declares coldly, "Every single person of the Chu family deserves to die." The scene changes. The entire Chu family territory is shown. A sword pierces violently into the ground. As the camera rises, we see that Chu Ling has slaughtered every single person of the clan. Old, young, servants, guards. No one survived. After such a long massacre, Chu Ling is completely exhausted. Her body is wounded, clothes torn, covered in blood and dust. She kneels on the ground using her sword for support, breathing heavily, hands trembling. All of this is being watched live by our MC through the system. Seeing the sight, Lewis nods slightly and says, "Not bad. She didn't leave a single soul alive in Chu sword manner. She didn't even spare the chickens." Stretching his hand lazily, he adds, "All right, close it now." He is just about to relax on his bed when the system asks, "Host, won't you continue watching? A shattering infant realm expert is about to come and kill her." Lewis smiles faintly. What is there to see? She deserves all of this. The scene shifts back to Chu Ling. The manor is now nothing but ruins, corpses, and blood everywhere. Chu Ling falls to her knees, whispering in a broken voice, "I was wrong, I was so wrong." Tears flow from her eyes, her body shaking in pain. She has no strength left to fight. From a distance someone approaches, the shattering infant realm expert, Reverend Li Jian. The moment he sees Chu Ling and the demonic sword in her hand, greed shines in his eyes. This demonic sword, it's actually complete. Laughing, he pulls out his blade and shouts, "That sword only brings you pain. Let me free you from it." He attacks at full speed, but Chu Ling barely tilts her sword, offering almost no resistance, as if she has already accepted death. Yet Li Jian suddenly stops his blade near her neck, noticing she hasn't reacted at all. No fear, no hope, nothing. He laughs madly. "Just as I thought, she has completely lost her mind." But at that very moment Chu Ling moves. With a single block she releases an overwhelming force that blasts Li Jian away, tearing his clothes and throwing him to the ground. Stunned, he mutters, "She's only at Origin Core Realm. How can she have such terrifying sword skills?" Chu Ling stands there lifelessly, as if emotions have abandoned her. Li Jian stares greedily. This girl hides a huge secret. The sword isn't the only treasure here. Suddenly Chu Ling turns and begins running away. Li Jian is shocked. What? She wasn't reacting at all just now. He chases after her, shouting obscenely, "Don't run! Be a good girl and come to Li Jian." Chu Ling keeps running despite her injuries, blood dripping with every step. Her lips tremble as she repeats, "I was wrong. I must repent. I must repent." Her mind seems broken, clinging only to guilt and regret. The scene shifts to Lewis. Outside, the furious woman Hong Ling is banging on his door, screaming accusations. Lewis sits calmly in meditation. The system asks, "Host, she is insulting you so badly. Will you just listen?" Without opening his eyes, Lewis replies, "Block my ears. I must focus on cultivation. Nothing will stop me from achieving sagehood." Later, Hong Ling's master arrives and scolds her, revealing how Lewis refined every treasure for her countless times. Hearing this, Hong Ling is shaken, but still refuses to apologize. Her master angrily sends her to the back mountain to reflect. Finally, the scene changes again. Barefoot and wounded, Chu Ling climbs the stairs toward Lewis's mountain, leaning on her demonic sword. There is no hatred left in her eyes, only exhaustion and regret. Looking toward Lewis's courtyard, she whispers softly, "Great Tao." She stands there trembling, breathing heavily, staring at the place as if realizing for the first time everything she has lost in her life. At that moment, someone noticed Chu Ling standing there and cried out in shock, "Who goes there?" Before anyone could react, Chu Ling's strength gave out. She collapsed to the ground and fainted. Yet, just before losing consciousness, she murmured weakly, "Bailon Peak. Lu Yi. I am Ling." The female disciple rushed toward her in alarm, but a sharp voice suddenly stopped her. "Stay your hand, fellow Taoist. When the female disciple looked up, she saw Li Jian descending from above. He landed gracefully and said, "Fellow Taoist, I have hunted this vile creature to this very spot. I mean no disrespect to the majesty of the great Tao sect. I shall remove this trash immediately." Li Jian stretched out his hand toward Chu Ling, but the female disciple instantly drew her sword and blocked his path. "Not so fast. Since she invoked the name of one of my sect members, I intend to return and verify it. If he claims not to know her, only then may you take her away." She turned to another disciple and ordered, "Keep a close watch. Do not let him take her before I return." The disciple nodded. "Understood." At Bailon Peak, the female disciple stood outside Lu Ye's room and called out loudly, "Junior brother Lu Yi! A woman claiming to be Chu Ling has collapsed outside the mountain gate. She is being hunted and is gravely injured. Do you know her?" From inside, Lu Yi asked coldly. "Who?" the disciple replied. "Chu Ling." After a brief silence, Lu Yi answered in an icy tone, "I don't know her." The female disciple responded, "Since junior brother does not recognize her, we shall not intervene." Lu Yi repeated firmly, "I said I don't know her." "Understood. Farewell," she said before leaving. Inside, the system asked Lu Yi, "Does master truly intend to leave her to die?" Lu Yi replied calmly, "Have you forgotten how she treated me in my past life? Besides, she isn't going to die." Outside the gate, the female disciple returned to Li Jian and informed him, "I have verified the matter. My sect's disciple does not know her. You may take her away." Li Jian sneered, "Just as I thought. The great Tao sect is a pillar of the righteous path. How could it possibly associate with a demoness like her?" He stepped closer to Chu Ling and said, "I shall remove her at once, lest she sully your noble grounds." But just as his hand was about to touch her, an invisible force struck, freezing his arm solid. Li Jian roared, "Who dares?" A powerful figure appeared. It was Bai Qiulan, her expression cold with anger. "Stay your hand!" The surrounding disciples immediately dropped to their knees. "Greetings, Marshal and Bai Qiulan declared firmly. "You cannot take her away." Li Jian clenched his fists in fury. The magnificent great Tao sect, reneging on its word? That is hardly the conduct of a righteous faction. The female disciple flared up and pointed her sword at him. "Impudent! Do you wish to find out just how sharp the great Tao sect's swords are?" Li Jian drew his own blade with a cold laugh. "My sword is none too dull either." The female disciple prepared to strike. "In that case," but before she could move, Bai Qiulan attacked from behind, instantly freezing Li Jian's entire body. She said in an indifferent tone, "Dispose of the corpse. I will take this woman back to the sect." Bai Qiulan carried Chu Ling to another residence, and urgently said to her senior sister, "Senior sister, please save Chu Ling." She laid Chu Ling onto the bed. The girl looked terribly wounded. The senior sister examined her and began to heal her while murmuring, "How could she be injured this badly?" Bai Qiulan sighed. She was practically a corpse. What sheer force of will kept her clinging to life until now? The senior sister gave a confident thumbs up. "Fear not. So long as a spark of life remains, I can bring her back." Bai Qiulan bowed slightly. "I am in your debt." After some time, Chu Ling finally regained consciousness. The moment she opened her eyes, she whispered instinctively, "Young master." Seeing her awake, Bai Qiulan hurried to her side. "Linger, you're awake." Chu Ling looked around in confusion. "Sister Bai? Where is the young master?" The senior sister silently observed from the side, thinking, "Sister? A lowly servant girl dares to call Qiulan sister?" Bai Qiulan answered gently, "Lu Yi is still in secluded cultivation. He has not yet emerged." Chu Ling said anxiously, "Then, was it the young master who asked Sister Bai to save me?" "Many thanks, Sister Bai, but I must go find him." Bai Qiulan shook her head. "There is no rush. Focus on healing your wounds first. By the time you have fully recovered, perhaps he will have finished his seclusion." Chu Ling lowered her gaze. I must apologize to the young master. I misunderstood him all this time. It turns out he wasn't trying to force himself on me. He was protecting me. Sister Bai, perhaps we have all misunderstood him. The senior sister, still listening quietly, felt her mind explode. Force himself? We? Good heavens, did I just stumble upon some massive scandal? She stared at the two of them in shock. Just then, Bai Qiulan glanced in her direction. The senior sister immediately turned her face away, pretending innocence. Bai Qiulan walked over and said politely, Senior sister, could I trouble you to step out for a moment? I have some things to discuss with Linger. The senior sister waved her hand. All right, I'm leaving right now. You two chat to your heart's content. After she stepped outside, Bai Qiulan turned back to Chu Ling. Linger, from now on, do not call me Sister Bai. You may address me as Senior Bai. Back when the chaosine poison flared within me, Lu Yi only resorted to that unavoidable act to save my life. Outside the door, the senior sister had not actually left. She pressed her ear against the wall and gasped. What do you mean by unavoidable act? But Bai Qiulan noticed her eavesdropping and immediately used her power to place a sound barrier around the room. The senior sister blinked in confusion. Huh? Why can't I hear anything now? Damn it. Just what kind of earth-shattering scandal was that? To think she'd actually block me out. Chapter 7 opens at midday on Bailing Peak. The sun hangs high in the sky, shining brightly over the mountain. At this moment, Louis's seclusion cultivation finally comes to an end. He slowly opens his eyes and stands up from the cultivation mat. Yawning lazily, he stretches his body and walks forward. After all, he hasn't slept properly for many days. The scene shifts to outside Louis's residence. A young woman is kneeling there on the cold ground. It is Chu Ling. She sits upright on her knees, unmoving, her expression calm yet stubborn. It is clear she has been sitting here for a very long time. Inside Louis's mind, his system reacts. The system informs him that she has been waiting outside for an unusually long period and asks whether he wants to go out and check on her. Louis's face shows no emotion at all. He replies coldly that there is no need. He says he has not forgotten what she did to him in his previous life. The moment Chu Ling comes to his mind, a single image flashes before his eyes. Her face. That cruel, evil smile. The smile she wore when he was dying. Louis clenches his fist slightly. He thinks that anyone who can betray once can betray again. Women, in his eyes, only slow down cultivation. In this life, cultivation is the only thing that matters to him. Nothing else is important. Outside the house, Chu Ling continues kneeling. Her legs are numb, her body exhausted, yet she does not move. Inside her heart, she speaks silently. She believes in young master. She believes that if she endures sincerely and keeps waiting, one day he will forgive her. Her resolve does not waver. The scene changes. Now we arrive at Crimson Cloud Peak. Within the territory of the Great Tao sect, there exist 9 main peaks and 72 minor peaks. Bailing Peak and Crimson Cloud Peak are both among them. At the top of Crimson Cloud Peak, a young woman filled with anger is practicing her short training routine. Her movements are elegant, dignified, and extremely graceful. Each motion flows smoothly, like water. At first glance, it almost looks as if she is dancing rather than training. With every step and turn, even the surrounding wind seems to follow her movements, swirling gently around her body. Whether these movements contain true killing power or not is unclear. She looks beautiful, majestic, yet dangerous. She is not alone. From behind a large rock, someone is secretly watching her. It seems she has unknowingly gained herself a stalker. A shy-looking young man. His name is Ling Wushang. Most people simply call him Ling. Ling is completely mesmerized. He watches her movements without blinking, his mind utterly captivated. Somehow, even her anger appears beautiful to him. Just as he is about to think further, a sharp sound cuts through the air. A flying sword suddenly shoots toward his hiding place, and slams directly into the rock in front of him. Ling gasps in shock, letting out an involuntary sound. The young woman stops her movements and speaks calmly, her tone unusually composed. She asks who is hiding there. Ling hesitates for a moment, then steps out from behind the rock. At the same time, the woman leaps forward with a light movement and lands right in front of him. Ling hurriedly brings his fists together and greets her. He introduces himself as Ling Wuxiang, addressing her as junior sister Hong Ling. He explains that he is the newly inducted head disciple of Crimson Cloud Peak. Even though Hong Ling's face looks irritated and sharp, in Ling's eyes, she looks unbelievably beautiful. Hong Ling speaks again, her voice surprisingly soft. She says she knows his name. Inside her mind, memories surface. She recalls hearing this name long ago. When senior brother Louis refused the position of Holy Son of the Great Tao sect, this man inherited that role. In the future, he ascended all the way to the 8 heavens. And in the end, he died while fighting within the dark turmoil. In her heart, she acknowledges that he should be counted as a true hero. Ling remains in his greeting posture, smiling awkwardly. He says he just witnessed the technique she was practicing and praises it as magnificent. He asks whether he can receive some guidance from her. Hong Ling lets out a light laugh and takes a deep breath. With an air of absolute superiority, she tells him that he is no match for her. That single word stirs something inside Ling. His expression turns serious. He draws his sword and says that even though she is younger than him, she speaks with far too much arrogance. He adds that whether or not he is her match can only be determined after they try. In the next instant, Hong Ling activates her movement technique and appears extremely close to his face. Smiling faintly, she suggests something else. She tells him to go and challenge Louis first. If he manages to defeat Louis, then he can come back and spar with her. That sudden closeness completely flusters Ling. He retreats hastily, his face reddening. He asks who Louis is and says he has no grudge against him. He does not understand why he should challenge someone he has no enmity with. At least, this shows that Ling is not thinking entirely with impulse. He still has some reason. Seeing this, Hong Ling relaxes slightly. She exhales deeply and sits down on a nearby tree branch. She explains that Louis is the reason her master punished her and sent her into solar tree confinement on Crimson Cloud Peak. Ling steps closer, lowering his voice. He asks her to explain exactly what Louis did. Hong Ling closes her eyes. She agrees to tell him how everything began. She says it all started on the day she kicked down Louis's door. The story continues. The details are not shown clearly, but by the time she finishes telling her one-sided version of events, an entire hour has passed. 1 hour later, Ling's expression is twisted with anger. He explodes in rage, saying the story is outrageous and disgusting. Just hearing it makes his blood boil. He questions how someone like Louis could even be worthy of being called her senior brother. Ling stands up abruptly and begins to walk away in fury. He tells Hong Ling to wait right there. He declares that he will go take revenge on her behalf. First, he will defeat Louis. Then, he will force him to apologize to her. Hearing this, Hong Ling becomes anxious. She hesitates and tries to stop him, saying that he truly cannot defeat Louis. But Ling does not stop. He shouts that he has already made his decision. If he does not teach Louis a proper lesson today, then he is not worthy of being called the head disciple. The scene shifts back to Louis. He truly has become a cultivation fanatic. He had just finished cultivating once, and now he is already sitting down again. Just as he begins to focus, he senses someone entering his courtyard. He opens his eyes and asks who is outside. A firm male voice answers with a name. Ling Wuxiang. Hearing that name, a memory surfaces in Louis's mind. An arena. A fierce battle. Logically speaking, their first meeting should have happened during the All-Sect Disciple Tournament. Louis remembers clearly that he was the champion, while Ling was the runner-up. Louis walks over and opens the door. He confirms Ling's identity and politely asks why senior brother Ling has come to Crimson Cloud Peak today. Ling is surprised. He asks whether Louis knows him. Louis responds calmly that he does. He praises Ling, saying his name even appears in stories. He accurately states that Ling entered the sect 2 months and 12 days ago, and condensed the heavenly core on the very first day. He calls it admirable. Hearing this, Ling's chest unconsciously straightens. He says that Louis's eyes are unexpectedly sharp, then corrects him slightly, explaining that it has only been 2 months and 11 days. The first day was wasted on entry procedures. Louis nods eagerly and continues praising him, calling his talent formidable and saying he is extremely valuable to the Great Tao sect. Suddenly, Ling snaps back to reality. He points at Louis angrily and demands that he wipe that smile off his face. He accuses Louis of trying to fool him. He declares that he has come here to issue a challenge. The atmosphere instantly turns silent. Louis's smile deepens slightly. He accepts the challenge without hesitation, saying he has been bored for a long time anyway. Both of them step outside. Ling immediately draws his sword and rushes forward. He declares that he will not hold back and tells Louis to prepare himself. A dangerous slash flashes through the air. Louis calmly steps aside and blocks the sword with just 2 fingers. Ling's eyes widen in shock. Louis releases a faint aura, gathering power into his fist as he charges forward. He apologizes calmly for the offense. Ling grits his teeth and tries to block with his sword, sensing danger. But before he can react, Louis disappears. In the next moment, Louis appears behind him and delivers a powerful kick to his back. Ling cries out as his body flies forward, crashing face first several steps away. No lethal weapon. No aura release. Yet the humiliation is complete. Louis looks down at him calmly, and says that this should be enough. But Ling is stubborn. He stands up again, rage burning in his eyes. He demands one more round. This time, he draws his sword with full seriousness. He activates the Crimson Cloud sword art. Taking a proper fighting stance, he prepares for a real battle. Ling attacks Louis once again. In his mind, Ling is certain of one thing. This time, Louis will not be able to dodge. But that thought is nothing more than an illusion. In the very next movement, Louis passes straight by Ling's side. Effortlessly. Casually. The attack misses completely. Ling's eyes widen in disbelief. He cannot accept what just happened. His breathing becomes uneven, a trace of panic appearing on his face. Before he can even react, Louis's fist is already rushing toward him. Louis speaks calmly. Look carefully. I will only demonstrate this once. Louis's arm shoots forward like lightning. In an instant, his hand clamps onto Ling's collar. Ling's pupils shrink. He blurts out instinctively that Louis is far too fast. But before his words can finish, Louis grabs him by the collar and spins violently, throwing him away like a rag doll. At the same time, a crimson-red aura bursts out from Louis's body. On the other side, Ling stabs his sword into the ground. His feet scrape across the surface as he slides backward, barely managing to stabilize himself. Louis then stands upright, calm and dominant, like a true Sigma male. He looks at Ling and asks casually how was that, and whether he still wants to continue. Ling is clearly shaken now. Sweat drips down his face. His voice trembles slightly as he admits that in terms of skill, he is inferior, but his comprehension ability is strong. Louis tilts his head slightly. Oh? What does senior brother mean? Ling suddenly launches another attack. He shouts that he has already comprehended the second form of the Qixia sword art. His sword slashes forward, tearing through the ground as the attack surges toward Louis at terrifying speed. Cracks spread across the earth. Dust flies everywhere. Yet Louis remains standing calmly. He simply watches the attack approach. Then, in a serious tone, he speaks. Senior brother indeed has good perception. In the next moment, Louis swings his hand like a blade. His palm cuts through the air. The incoming sword attack is shattered instantly. Completely destroyed. Seeing his strongest move erased so casually, Ling is utterly shocked. Cold sweat pours from his body. His eyes remain wide open. He cannot say a single word. Louis lowers his head slightly. He extends his hand forward in greeting and asks whether they can end it here. Ling takes a deep breath. He bows his head and returns the greeting. He admits his defeat. He acknowledges that Louis is far stronger, and says that Louis's future achievements will inevitably surpass his own. Louis smiles faintly. He tells Ling not to worry. In the future, if anyone asks, he will say that he fought senior brother for 10 rounds and barely achieved a narrow victory. Hearing this, Ling laughs loudly. He praises Louis as a good person and says he will remember him. He then turns around to leave, bidding farewell and saying they will meet again. Just as Ling is walking away, Chu Ling suddenly runs over in a hurry. She is here to see Louis. She calls out happily, saying that senior brother has finally come out. Ling turns his head toward her. Inside his mind, a thought appears. Are there really so many beauties on Bailing Peak? Louis, however, has no intention of meeting Chu Ling. Without hesitation, he shuts his door. The sound echoes in the courtyard. Chu Ling freezes on the spot. She stands there silently, completely stunned. Slowly, she kneels down again. Her face is filled with sadness. She asks softly why senior brother closed the door again. Ling walks over and speaks to her. He tells her that a woman's dignity is precious. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Since Louis is unwilling to see her, why should she cling to a single tree? Chu Ling's regret deepens. Her eyes redden as she begs softly, asking whether senior brother cannot just open the door and look at Ling at once. Ling tries to ignore the situation. He turns around and walks away. Letting out a deep sigh, he thinks to himself that it is a pity. She is pretty, but unfortunately blind. He, Ling Wushang, is so dashing and handsome, yet she actually turns a blind eye to him. The scene shifts. Back on Crimson Cloud Peak. The angry young woman is still practicing her sword. Ling arrives. He tells Hong Ling that he lost. Hearing this, Hong Ling looks at him and smiles faintly. She says she already told him that he could not defeat Louis. Ling sits down on a piece of wood. He admits that Louis is actually quite a decent person and not as terrible as she described. Hong Ling places both hands on her waist and snorts. She says that Louis treats men well enough, but with women, that is not necessarily true. Ling raises an eyebrow and asks whether she understands Louis that well. He mentions that he just saw a young maiden kneeling before Louis's door, yet Louis kept the door shut and refused to come out. Hong Ling is startled. A maiden? She asks what she looked like and what her name was. Ling replies that she was very pretty. He recalls hearing her call herself Ling or something similar. Hong Ling's heart trembles. Chu Ling. She actually came back. Her thoughts become chaotic. She wonders how this should be handled. She tells herself not to be jealous. Why would she be jealous? That would be ridiculous. How could she possibly be jealous over Lu Yi? At the same time, Ling's expression darkens. A terrifying realization hits him. No way. Is she also Lu Yi's woman? Then don't blame him for not knowing how to cherish jade and pity fragrance. Ling suddenly stands up. He challenges Hong Ling. He says that he has already fulfilled his promise to challenge Lu Yi, so now she must spar with him. Hong Ling hesitates. She points out that he did not defeat Lu Yi. Ling does not care. He says that he went to challenge Lu Yi for her sake, so she must take responsibility. Hong Ling stares at him for a moment. Then she accepts. She says it is time to make him give up on this foolish heart of his. Her eyes turn red with anger. She charges forward first. She declares that she will not hold back like Lu Yi did. A violent explosion erupts on the mountain. Shockwaves spread across the peak. Ling desperately tells her to be gentle. But Hong Ling does not listen at all. Half an hour later. Ling's condition is miserable. His face is swollen. His cheeks are bruised. He has been beaten so badly that he can barely stand. Hong Ling looks down at him coldly. She tells him not to come disturb her cultivation again in the future, and orders him to leave. Ling cries as he staggers away. He shouts in despair, asking whether everyone on Bailing Peak is a monster. Why is one more ruthless than the other? He swears that he will definitely come back one day. Hong Ling frowns. Her thoughts return to Chu Ling. Why did Chu Ling come back? She decides that she must go take a look. Confinement? Who cares about confinement? Meanwhile, back at Bailing Peak, Chu Ling is still kneeling outside Louis's room. Her body is trembling. Her regret is overwhelming. She keeps apologizing softly, saying it was Linger's fault and that Linger was wrong. Her voice grows weaker. Due to hunger and thirst, her strength finally gives out. She collapses against the doorframe. The impact causes the door to open. Chu Ling looks inside anxiously and calls out to her senior brother. But when she looks into the room, it is empty. Her heart sinks. Her face turns pale as she whispers in shock. Senior brother is missing. The chapter begins with Hong Ling arriving to meet Chu Ling. Chu Ling is slightly surprised when she sees Hong Ling standing there. Hong Ling speaks in a very harsh tone and says, "Lu Yi has already left. So why are you still kneeling here? He is not coming back." But Chu Ling is drowning in guilt. Tears of regret continuously fall from her eyes. She turns toward Hong Ling and says, "Even if the young master is not in the sect right now, I will continue kneeling here until the day he returns." Hong Ling becomes angry. She grabs Chu Ling's hand and tries to pull her up, saying, "You should stop kneeling and stand up. We are female cultivators. We have dignity too. Why are you humiliating yourself like this?" But Chu Ling shakes off Hong Ling's hand and cries, "Sister Hong Ling, I was wrong. I made a huge mistake. I poisoned the young master. This punishment is what I deserve." Just then, Master Bai arrives. As soon as she comes, she speaks gently to Chu Ling. "What happened is already in the past. From now on, we should start anew. You shouldn't keep blaming yourself." But Chu Ling still cannot let go of the past. She firmly shakes her head and says, "A heavenly rigidity poison can never be completely cleared. A part of it will remain inside his body forever. Curing it is extremely difficult." When Hong Ling and Master Bai hear this, both of them are shocked. Hong Ling asks in disbelief, "You mean, the heavenly poison is still inside Lu Ye's body? And it will remain there permanently?" She is confused. Master Bai then speaks again, mentioning the perfect returning origin pill. The moment Chu Ling hears about that pill, her regret deepens even further. More tears fall from her eyes as she says, "So that means Lu Yi didn't intentionally take the perfect returning origin pill. It was because the heavenly rigidity poison flared up and consumed its power." Hearing this, Hong Ling's eyes also fill with tears. She lowers her head and apologizes softly. "Senior brother, I'm sorry." Master Bai sighs deeply and says, "How wrong we all were about Lu Yi. But where exactly are you now?" Scene shift. The scene shifts to the back mountains of the Great Taoist sect. There, Lu Yi is cultivating calmly and peacefully. His mind is focused only on self-improvement, not on women. This time, he will not make the same mistakes again. His only focus is cultivation. Through the system, Lu Yi is monitoring the 3 female leads. The system says, "Master, they are all waiting for you to return." Lu Yi replies coldly, "Let them be. It's quiet here. I'll cultivate here. I've figured it out now. Women, one after another, are all stumbling blocks on my path to the Tao. Our main character is finally on the right path. Straightforward. No distractions." But the system is restless and asks, "How long does Master plan to stay here?" Lu Yi ignores it. Golden energy bursts out from his body as he smiles and says, "Before the December disciple competition starts, I will reach the 13th layer of the Origin Core realm and gain qualification to enter the Great Tao Treasure Pavilion." 3 months later. 3 months pass. The disciple competition is about to begin. Numerous disciples fly toward the arena on their swords. Someone announces, "The Order Peak Master of all peaks leads the 92nd generation disciples to gather at the Great Tao Terrace." Lu Yi also flies toward Balan Peak, his face filled with confidence. But suddenly, he stops. His eyes land on 3 figures. They are none other than Hong Ling, Chu Ling, and Master Bai. Lu Yi falls silent. At that moment, Chu Ling turns around. Her eyes meet Lu Ye's. "Young master!" she calls out. Lu Yi gives no response. Suddenly, Hong Ling runs toward him and apologizes. Senior brother. I'm sorry. Chu Ling also rushes over, trying to apologize. Master Bai calls out, asking Lu Yi to stop. The commotion draws everyone's attention. The disciples whisper in shock. What is going on? Two stunning beauties are apologizing to one man at the same time? The chatter irritates Lu Yi. His expression turns cold as he says firmly, Get lost. The disciples are completely stunned. He actually told 3 goddesses to get lost? Lu Yi looks like a total badass. Hong Ling clenches her fists, furious. She turns around and says, If you want me gone, then fine. I'll get lost. She leaves. Master Bai also turns away, clearly upset. I'm tired. That's why I'm leaving. She cannot believe how bold Lu Yi has become. Only Chu Ling remains. She steps forward and says softly, Young master. But before she can finish, a group of disciples kneel before Lu Yi, bowing deeply. Hero! A model for our generation! Please accept our bow! They finally understand. Ignore women, move forward, cultivate hard. Suddenly, a powerful voice echoes. Everyone take your places. All disciples move toward the arena. Another announcement follows. Next, please welcome the Vice Sect Master. An old man enters the arena. Half bald, wearing round glasses, full of authority. He begins his long speech about the Tao. Lu Yi yawns lazily and mutters, Even the bureaucratic tone is exactly the same as my past life. I should have arrived later. Finally, the Vice Sect Master announces. The competition follows a single elimination format. Go all out. Do not be cowardly. I declare the 90-second disciple competition officially begun. Battles begin. A beautiful girl steps into the arena. Several disciples stare shamelessly at her legs. But Lu Yi doesn't even look. Hong Ling notices this and feels conflicted. The battles begin. Hong Ling defeats her opponent with a single kick, sending him flying off the stage. The Vice Sect Master announces her victory. Next, Chu Ling's turn. Before stepping onto the stage, she approaches Lu Yi and says, Young master, I have joined the Great Tao sect. Tears of regret still fill her eyes. She steps onto the stage while still looking at Lu Yi. The disciples praise her beauty. Her opponent mocks her. Junior sister, you've already humiliated yourself enough. Why keep throwing yourself at him? Chu Ling's expression hardens. She replies firmly, Thank you for your concern, senior sister. For me, the young master is an existence more important than the Tao itself. The opponent explodes in anger. Nonsense! I'll beat you until you wake up! This part begins with Chu Ling fighting another female disciple in the arena. The two of them are clashing fiercely while the surrounding disciples cheer loudly. Both sides have their supporters, but especially many disciples are shouting for the other female disciple. Teach her a lesson! Show her her place! On the other side, senior sister Hong Ling is quietly looking toward Lu. She starts thinking to herself, although this Lu is a little handsome, there are no fewer than 10 men in the Great Tao sect more handsome than him. So how exactly did this little girl fall for him so deeply? It's truly baffling. Meanwhile, the female disciple activates her technique. Spiritual energy surges around her as multiple clones appear, surrounding Chu Ling from all sides. She begins pushing Chu Ling back. Junior sister, if you don't wake up soon, don't blame me if I accidentally hurt you as your senior sister. But suddenly, Chu Ling's eyes sharpen. In the next instant, she unleashes her own technique. With one swift motion, she destroys several of the clones in a flash. Her sword moves like lightning, cutting through illusions instantly. Before anyone can react, she appears in front of the female disciple, her blade stopping just inches away from her neck. The entire arena falls silent. Fear clearly appears on the female disciple's face. Chu Ling calmly says, Thank you for your concern, senior sister. Then she slowly withdraws her sword and politely adds, I accept your concession. And just like that, Chu Ling of Blazing Peak wins. A bright glow appears on her face as she turns toward Lu with a smile. Young master, I won! But Lu gives no response. All the disciples turn to look at him. He still hasn't melted. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't plan to get distracted by girls. Without even looking back, he walks toward the stage because the next match is his. Everyone is shocked by his attitude. The disciples start whispering among themselves. He doesn't know how to cherish jade and pity fragrance at all. Soon, the next match is announced, Lu versus Gu Qing. A large number of disciples cheer for Gu Qing, wishing him good luck. They want him to defeat Lu. They hope he will crush Lu's ruthless attitude and teach him a proper lesson, so Junior Sister can finally see what kind of trash he really is. Lu looks seriously at Gu Qing and thinks, I don't seem to have any impression of this name. Without wasting time, Gu Qing charges forward and loudly declares, Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of everyone. But Lu's expression turns cold. He watches the attack coming toward him. He clenches his fist. Spiritual energy gathers instantly, forming a spiritual fist. Boom! With one punch, he shatters Gu Qing's sword. The impact sends Gu Qing flying off the stage. Silence. Then Lu calmly says, I accept your concession. The old master watching from above slightly smiles. This generation has produced some excellent seedlings. Another elder nods. Indeed. Those from Blazing Peak are especially outstanding. The old man continues. Sect leader Hong Ling and Chuling. I didn't expect Junior Sister Bai to be not only skilled in cultivation herself, but also so formidable in teaching disciples. They are excellent, certainly. But their emotions are also too abundant. If those two girls run into love, they may not necessarily have the mind to compete. Then his gaze shifts toward senior brother. If this continues, I'm afraid my great Tao sect will turn into the Jealous Union sect. After that, many battles take place. In every round, the same three characters continue to win. Chuling advances easily. Hong Ling also advances. Next match, Lu of Blazing Peak versus Li Jimin of One Dao Peak. Li Jimin activates his technique and creates a turtle spirit shield around himself. The defensive power is extremely strong. He reinforces it further, making it even thicker. But Lu charges forward immediately. Without hesitation, he throws a punch at the shield. Crack! With terrifying force, he shatters the defense completely. Li Jimin is stunned as his powerful shield breaks apart like glass. He falls heavily to the ground, unable to believe that his defense was destroyed so easily. After defeating him, Lu calmly says, Thank you. Now Lu slowly steps higher through the rounds. His next opponent is Hong Ling. Hong Ling stares at him carefully. She already knows she isn't his match. I know I can't beat you, she says. But let's agree on one thing first, no hitting the face. Maybe she's planning some trick. She already understands she can't win normally. Lu smiles slightly. You actually reminded me. In the next second. Bam! His spiritual fist lands directly on Hong Ling's face. She is completely shocked. His speed is far beyond her expectations. The match is practically over instantly. You said no hitting the face, she shouts angrily. Now Hong Ling activates her technique. Golden energy erupts from her body. Then please enlighten me, senior brother. She uses her fearless divine fist. Lu casually raises his fist. No strain. No forceful movement, just a simple extension of his arm. Red spiritual energy flows from his hand. When her divine fist collides with his, her attack shatters instantly. With a slight push, Lu sends her flying backward. She crashes onto the stage. Defeated. He walks past her, then suddenly stops. Someone comments loudly. Good heavens! Does this Lu not like women, bro? Another disciple mutters. He's not backward, he's straightforward. He only looks forward now. Hong Ling, like an annoyed kitten, refuses to give up. Senior brother, I'm not done with you. She still doesn't accept defeat. No one knows what she's still clinging to. But Lu doesn't want any relationships anymore. Yet these people keep chasing after him. Two disciples who are actually his fans whisper. If that's really the case, Lu is quite pitiful. Did we misunderstand him? The other nods. Boys being alone outside must protect themselves well. Then the fifth round begins. This time, Lu faces Lingu Shuang. They stand opposite each other on the stage. Lingu says calmly, I've already made up for my defects. But it seems I'm still not your match. Lu replies, knowing shame and then being brave, making constant progress. That is the way of cultivation. Lingu narrows his eyes. You're not an unreasonable person. So why are you so savage and ruthless toward your junior sisters? Lu doesn't answer. He raises his hand and gestures. Come. You don't need to know that. Just make your move. Lingu becomes angry. He activates his technique and sends countless slash attacks flying toward Lu. And with that explosive clash about to unfold, this part begins with Lu Yi slowly raising two fingers of his right hand. In the next instant, a blazing red sword intent condenses between his fingers, glowing sharply like burning blood. The air around him trembles. Without hesitation, he slashes forward. His sword intent crashes into his opponent's attack, and destroys it effortlessly. Not only that, Lu Yi continues walking forward calmly, as if nothing could stop him. His opponent now clearly feels Lu Yi's overwhelming power. Fear creeps into his heart. His grip tightens, but his confidence is already gone. Lu Yi smirks slightly and says, Senior brother Lingu, do you still want to continue? A faint smile appears on his face, confident, almost teasing. The very next second, Lingu's sword slips from his hand and falls onto the arena stage with a loud clang. I admit defeat. He lowers his head, openly acknowledging his loss. Lu Yi brings his hands together in front of him in a respectful greeting gesture. Thank you for letting me win. The entire arena goes silent. All the elders present are completely shocked. One elder suddenly shouts, Junior Sister Bai is not even a specialized sword cultivator. A sword genius like Lu Yi should be taught by me. That is the most suitable arrangement. But immediately another elder jumps forward and interrupts angrily. Bullshit. You can't even defeat me. How can you possibly teach Lu Yi anything? He rolls up his sleeves and clenches his fist, ready to argue. Before things escalate further, a third elder steps out and sighs deeply. I feel unworthy to teach him. I will go find my master. Perhaps my master can personally guide Lu Yi. The competition for Lu Yi has officially begun. Just then, Master Bai steps forward. Senior brothers, Lu Yi is my disciple. Our Bailian Peak is not a place for you to speak so rudely. The moment the elders see her, their faces turn red in embarrassment. One elder quickly says, Junior Sister Bai, if you are willing to give Lu Yi to my lonely sword peak, we are willing to offer all our precious resources for the next 3 years to your vent peak. Another elder adds desperately, Junior Sister Bai, you know me. My hidden sword Heaven Scripture is waiting for a top-tier successor. If you do not give him to my hidden sword peak, our lineage will die out. I am willing to give you 20 years of my essence. But Master Bai firmly shakes her head. No way. It is absolutely impossible to give Lu Yi to any of you. There is no room for negotiation. Lu Yi hears everything. He begins to think. Isn't Master Bai afraid that I might deceive her and destroy the ancestor's reputation? Why is she refusing to send me away so firmly? Suddenly, a powerful voice echoes from the sky. Marshal Ni Spy. I am taking this Lu Yi. Everyone freezes. Master Bai looks up in shock. All the elders raise their heads. In the sky stands a figure in black robes, sword on his back, his aura vast and overwhelming. It is the Venerable Battle Sword Master. He stands in the air with a cold, serious expression, looking down at everyone below. The moment the elders see him, they immediately bow. Greetings, Martial Uncle Battle Sword! All the disciples fall to their knees as well, including Lu Yi. Lu Yi thinks inwardly. So even a supreme elder of the Tao interrogation realm has come to snatch disciples. But then, Another powerful elder appears behind the Battle Sword Master. Junior brother Battle Sword, I believe Lu Yi is more suitable for my sword Dao. Before anyone can react, yet another terrifying elder arrives. Senior brother Dao, I think Lu Yi is clearly more suitable for my sword Dao inheritance. Now multiple venerable level elders are fighting over him. Master Bai is completely shaken. Her heart is pounding violently. According to the sect rules, elders can only choose disciples when they first enter the sect. Snatching someone afterward is against tradition. She quickly speaks up. Martial uncles, according to the established rules, one can only choose disciples when they first enter the sect. To snatch someone now just because you see his outstanding aptitude is truly not the proper way. She is clearly nervous. Her heart is racing. She is afraid Lu Yi will be taken away from her. The venerable Battle Sword Master suddenly becomes serious. His sharp gaze locks onto Master Bai. In a cold, firm tone, he says, "You are not a sword cultivator. How can you properly teach a powerful sword genius?" The pressure in the arena becomes suffocating, and the real battle is only just beginning. That is still not a reason for you to snatch someone. The venerable Battle Sword Master narrows his eyes. Since you are so stubborn, then I shall ask your disciple directly. His gaze shifts downward toward Lu Yi. Lu Yi, I ask you now, are you willing to leave Bai Lian Peak and bow under a different sword cultivation lineage? The entire arena goes silent. Below, Lu Yi stands quietly, looking up at the sky. On the other side, Master Bai's heart is pounding violently. Sweat trickles down her face. Behind her, Hong Ling is also nervous. Sweat forms at her temples as well. She thinks to herself, Lu Yi, if you really want to leave, does that mean we will have no connection from now on? She assumes he might stay. But that misunderstanding is about to be shattered. And somewhere deep inside her heart, a strange jealousy begins to burn. After all, in their previous life, she and Lu Yi had shared countless intimate dual cultivation sessions. Their connection wasn't shallow. Meanwhile, Lu Yi is laughing inwardly. A devilish smile appears on his face. He brings both hands together respectfully and shouts loudly, "Of course, I am willing!" The moment the venerable sword master hears this, he bursts into laughter. "Ha! Good! Since you have no objection, I will report to the sect master immediately and let him personally decide." Right now, it feels like he just discovered a diamond inside a coal mine. A true genius. The three venerable masters immediately depart at high speed to meet the sect master. Below, Lu Yi watches calmly. Meanwhile, the smaller elders who had hoped to recruit him panic. "Let's go! Maybe we can still pick up some scraps." They quickly rush off as well. On the other side, Master Bai's expression falls. No matter how stunning she looks, what does it matter? The future's most powerful sword genius will not waste his time on small pawns forever. Behind her, Hong Ling nervously asks, "Master, what should we do? What if?" "Yes. What if?" Master Bai answers coldly. "With me here, no one is allowed to snatch him." Then she turns decisively. "Who is afraid of whom? If they are going to find the sect master, then so am I." And she swiftly leaves for the great Dao Hall. Just then, a voice echoes from the arena. "Why are you still standing there? The competition is not over. Continue." With that announcement, a new girl steps onto the stage. She is extremely beautiful, but unfamiliar. The announcer declares, "Semifinals, second match, Chu Ling versus senior sister Rong Huorong." The disciples whisper excitedly, "It's a duel between two beauties. The palm and the back of the hand, both are precious." Honestly, they're not wrong. It's hard to imagine how breathtaking it will look when they fight. Chu Ling steps onto the stage and politely greets. "Senior sister, please make the first move." Scene shifts. The Great Dao Hall. A massive palace, the core of the sect. Even from outside, voices can be heard. "Sect master, you must make a decision for me. Otherwise, my lonely sword lineage will truly die out." Another elder says urgently, "Sect master, I cannot helplessly watch a good sword Dao seedling be buried in by Lian Peak's sands. Inside the hall, a majestic figure sits upon a grand throne. Below him, the venerable elders bow respectfully. Behind them stands Master Bai. The venerable sword master declares, "Sect master, if necessary, I will kowtow to you." Then, we finally see the great Dao sect master, Lu Chunfeng. He raises his hand and says coldly, "Enough. All of you, shut your mouths." Instant silence. "Yes, sect master." He turns his sharp gaze toward Master Bai. "Junior sister Bai." For a moment, he looks serious. But in the very next second, his expression completely changes. He softens instantly, like a cat trying to act cute. "I haven't seen you in a year. You're becoming more and more beautiful." Wow. So even the sect master isn't immune when it comes to a beautiful woman. The venerable elders are stunned. Their faces collapse in disbelief. Meanwhile, Master Bai smiles gently. A faint blush appears beneath her eyes. This part begins, and Master Bai greets the sect master. And after seeing Master Bai, the perverted sect master says, "I told you, you can call me senior brother. There is no need to call me sect master." But Master Bai says, "Sect rules cannot be mistaken. Etiquette cannot be abolished." Then from the other side the perverted sect master says, all right. Calling me sect master is fine too then. Junior sister Bai, what do you think of this matter?" Then Master Bai says from the front, "I absolutely will not allow Lu Yi to leave Baiyan Peak. This does not conform to the sect rules, nor does it conform to etiquette." After hearing her words, a martial uncle says, "Bai Yunlan, you are a spell cultivator. Do not lead disciples astray." Then Master Bai smiles and says, "Spells I can teach. Sword I can also teach. If the three martial uncles do not believe me, then the sect master can allow me to fight a short battle against the three martial uncles. If I win, Lu Yi will be a person of Baiyan Peak." After hearing her words, a martial uncle looks at her and says, Good. This martial uncle won't bully you either. I will seal my own cultivation and fight you with sword at the same void refining realm. If you lose, then let Lu Yi choose for himself." And Master Bai also becomes ready. Then she quickly starts walking toward the arena and says, "I will absolutely not lose. If you want Lu Yi, come fight me in the sky." Behind her, the martial uncle also starts going and says, "Fine." For the sake of a successor, this old man is not afraid of bearing the infamy of bullying the small. And on the other side, the perverted sect master tells Master Bai to stop, but she has already left, so he says to the martial uncle, "Martial Uncle Lonely Sword, you must absolutely not hurt junior sister Bai." Then in the sky, Master Bai summons a spiritual sword, which appears above her. And she also pulls out her own sword. At that moment, Chu Ling notices that spiritual sword and starts looking toward the sky. Then she says, "The Divine Sword Master has made her move." And as soon as the martial uncle sees Master Bai's power, he becomes completely shocked and says, "Junior sister Bai, how is it possible?" Then she says, "Martial uncle, be careful." Then she lowers her finger, and because of that her divine sword also starts descending downward. To block that attack, the martial uncle also sends his sword forward to block it and says, "Then this martial uncle won't hold back." And both of their swords clash with each other. The martial uncle is using his lonely sword strike to block the attack. But the next moment his spiritual sword starts breaking, and it shatters into pieces. The martial uncle loses. Blood comes out of his mouth, and he also becomes injured. Then Master Bai looks with a serious gaze and says, "Martial uncle, you have lost." Then she announces and gestures with her hand, "Please, next martial uncle, enlighten me." Then the second martial uncle comes in front of her and says, "Forget it. The sword Dao you just displayed proves you have the ability to teach Lu Yi. Since that's the case, it's not good for us to still snatch someone else's treasure." He accepts defeat. And the third martial uncle also says, "Not bad. I mean the same." After hearing their words, Master Bai brings both her hands together in greeting and says, "Thank you to the martial uncles." Then she comes down. where the perverted sect master is waiting for her. Then he says, "Junior Sister Bai, are you alright?" "Junior Sister Bai, the sword technique you used just now does not belong to the Great Tao sect, right?" In reply she says, "Obtained by chance. It indeed does not belong to the Great Tao sect." And the perverted master is still very happy and says, "Since Junior Sister likes to study sword techniques, I, your senior brother, have privately collected quite a few sword arts. Why doesn't Junior Sister accompany me to the library pavilion to study them together?" But Master Bai refuses and says, "Sorry, senior brother. I won't like sword techniques." Then the scene shifts to the arena, where Chu Ling is still on the stage. Now the final match is about to happen. Chu Ling versus Lu Yi. Standing in the arena, Chu Ling is thinking, "Young master, I have finally waited for you." At that moment Lu Yi starts entering the arena. Seeing him, Chu Ling's eyes shine and she becomes happy and says, "Young master!" And step by step Lu Yi is walking into the arena. Seeing him, a silence spreads everywhere. Chu Ling is still standing in the arena. But suddenly she feels something. That is killing intent. Killing intent is coming out from Lu Yi's eyes, and she starts thinking, "Young master, do you really want to kill me?" And the crowd is cheering loudly. They are shouting, "Beat him!" Everyone hates Lu Yi. They are saying, "Destroy this comeback. I have found Lu Yi an eyesore for a long time." Then Chu Ling suddenly drops to her knees and says, "Young master, do it." She becomes ready to die. But Lu Yi is looking at her with hateful eyes. He stays silent. And when the disciples see that Chu Ling has already knelt down, everyone becomes shocked. They say, "Why is it like this? How much money did she take from Lu Yi?" Another one says, "Is this woman crazy? She is simply 1,000 times more of a simp than I am." Then finally Lu Yi says, "You and I currently have no affection. I won't kill you. Stay away from me, all right?" The man knows what he has to do. Stay away from women. But Chu Ling's eyes are full of tears of regret. She is crying and saying, "No. Young master, you can kill me, but I will absolutely not leave young master." But at that moment Lu Yi suddenly slaps her hard on the face. And staring at her he says, "Bastard psycho." This part begins with the announcement that the winner of the match is Lu Yi. With that announcement, it becomes official that Lu Yi has won the match. After that, the vice sect master gives Lu Yi a token and says, "Take this token and go to the Great Tao Treasure Pavilion. With it you can enter and collect your reward." Lu Yi politely accepts the token and respectfully says, "Thank you." But at that moment, Lu Yi suddenly feels a chilling sensation in the air. He immediately looks ahead, trying to figure out where this cold aura is coming from. Soon he realizes something surprising. The chilling aura is coming from Master Bai and her senior sister. In fact, the one releasing this powerful cold sensation is Master Bai herself, and Lu Yi quickly notices it. Lu Yi thinks to himself, "When did Master Bai become this strong?" Then Master Bai's senior sister speaks and says, "You can even defeat someone in the Tao integration realm. I feel like you're hiding a lot of things from me right now." She is clearly confused and wants to understand what is happening. Then she continues, "Are you still the same good sister I knew, or have you changed? Tell me the truth. Confess." Hearing this, Master Bai hesitates and cannot explain anything. But her senior sister notices something strange. Master Bai's face is blushing, and her cheeks are slightly red. Seeing this, her senior sister says, "I noticed something. You seem even more seductive than before. Good heavens, what exactly is going on? What are you hiding behind my back?" Master Bai quickly hides her expression and covers her blushing face. She replies, "Good heavens, it's nothing like that." She does not tell the truth. But deep inside she already knows something important. The chaos-ine poison inside her body has appeared earlier than expected. She has also noticed this change. That is probably why her seductive aura has become stronger. Then, as her senior sister gently places a hand on Master Bai's shoulder, she suddenly feels something strange. Her senior sister asks, "What exactly is wrong with you? But the moment she touches Master Bai, she feels a very unusual sensation. The feeling is so strange that a small scream escapes from her mouth. She quickly says, "It's fine. I'm okay." But right after that, Master Bai suddenly disappears. Before leaving, she says she has something urgent to deal with, so she must leave first. As soon as she vanishes, her senior sister stands there completely confused and shocked. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lu Yi watches everything with a faint smile. Inside his mind, he thinks, "My dear master, this is the chaosine poison. I hope you can rely on your own strength to suppress it while I eventually turn this poison into nothing." Lu Yi shows a strange confidence. After that, the scene shifts to the Great Tao Treasure Pavilion. Step by step, Lu Yi climbs the stairs and approaches the pavilion. When he reaches the entrance, he shows the reward token to the gatekeeper. The elder at the pavilion looks at him and asks, "You are this time's champion?" Then he continues, "Your name is Lu Yi, correct? If that's the case, please come in." Lu Yi enters the pavilion. Inside, another elder explains, "The higher you go in this pavilion, the better treasures you will find. However, you can only choose 3 treasures, and they must be from the 7th floor or below." After hearing this, Lu Yi smiles strangely. Then he calmly says, "A wood spirit root, a god burial ridge key, and a 9 dragons treasure furnace. I've already made my choice." He clearly came prepared. When the elder hears this, he becomes extremely surprised. The wood spirit root and the god burial ridge key are indeed good items, but this 9 dragons treasure furnace? Lu Yi simply winks and says, "I have my own wonderful uses for it." After some time, Lu Yi walks out of the Great Tao Treasure Pavilion. Outside, many disciples are gathered under the open sky. Lu Yi sits on top of a small rock and suddenly starts shouting loudly, "9 dragons treasure furnace! Fresh 9 dragons treasure furnace!" He is clearly trying to sell it. Then he continues, "Exchange it for 1 profounding soul fruit. Don't miss this chance. The 9 dragons treasure furnace can refine all kinds of pills and extract top-grade herbs." Then Lu Yi approaches a disciple and says, "Senior brother, please wait. Not 998, not 668. Just 1 profounding soul fruit, and you can take this 9 dragons treasure furnace home." But the disciple rejects him, waves his hand, and walks away. "Move aside." Lu Yi looks at the furnace and mutters, "Oh no, don't tell me I won't be able to sell it." But suddenly an idea appears in his mind. "I got it." Then Lu Yi raises the furnace and shouts loudly, "The 9 dragons treasure furnace can produce all kinds of pills. It can strengthen the body and improve health." As soon as he shouts this, the nearby disciples all turn toward him. Lu Yi's eyes begin to shine. "Yes, this is the opportunity." He clears his throat. Ahem. Boost virality. At that moment, another disciple becomes interested and asks, "Then how can I exchange for it?" Lu Yi immediately replies, "1 profounding soul fruit." And just like that, the deal is made. Lu Yi smiles and says, "You have excellent taste." After some time, the scene shifts to the main gate of the Great Tao sect. Here we see Chu Ling, who has prepared food for Lu Yi. She is carrying the dish for him. Honestly, even though she betrayed him before, she still looks incredibly beautiful. At that moment, Lu Yi walks up the stairs, and Chu Ling notices him. "Young master, you're here," but Lu Yi ignores her completely. Chu Ling says, "Young master, I made your favorite mung bean cakes for you." Yet Lu Yi walks past her without even looking. Chu Ling can only stand there watching him leave. "Young master." But before she can continue, Lu Yi summons his sword, steps onto it, and prepares to fly away. Leaving her behind, he quickly departs. Lu Yi thinks, "With 3 treasures in hand, I can finally leave the mountain and get some things done." But Chu Ling refuses to give up and shouts, "Young master!" Lu Yi hears her voice and turns back. He sees that Chu Ling is chasing him while riding a sword. "Young master, wait for me!" Lu Yi becomes irritated. "Are you sick in the head?" Then suddenly, he disappears, leaving her far behind. The scene then shifts to Bai Yiling's courtyard. Master Bai is sitting there, trying to suppress the poison inside her body. Outside the door, her senior sister is pacing nervously. She mutters, "This Bai Yiling, just how many things is she hiding from me? Why did such a strong chill suddenly appear out of nowhere?" At that moment, Hong Ling arrives. She says, "Martial Ant Master is suffering from an outbreak of the Tai-yin poison. But it shouldn't have appeared this early." Hearing this, the senior sister becomes shocked. "Hong Ling, what is this Tai-yin poison? Why didn't I know about it?" Hong Ling explains. "The Tai-yin poison comes from Master's special constitution. It causes Tai-yin energy to continuously gather and condense into liquid form, producing extreme freezing pain. But the strange thing is, it should only appear after reaching the Tao integration realm. However, Master hasn't reached that realm yet." Meanwhile, inside the courtyard, Master Bai is still trying to suppress the poison. She thinks, "Why is it that even though I use the Divine Saint Transformation scripture, I still cannot completely dispel the chaos-yin poison like I did in my previous life?" Then she remembers Lu Yi. And she wonders, could it be that I still cannot break free from my reliance on Lu Yi? This part begins, and we see that screams are coming from Master Bai's room. Hearing her screams, both the senior sister and Hong Ling are shocked. Then we see the scene inside, where Master Bai is sitting, and she has finally eliminated every last drop of yin poison inside her body. It has completely disappeared, and because of that, she is taking deep breaths. But at that moment, the senior sister opens the door and walks in. At the same time, she congratulates her junior sister, saying that she has achieved a breakthrough, and that too into the Tao interrogation realm. Then she quickly walks over, places her hand on Master Bai's shoulder, and asks how she is feeling right now. In response, Master Bai says that she feels rested and assured, and that she is already fine. Then the senior sister says that the cold qi must have entered her body, and because of that, her qi and blood must have weakened. She continues, saying that she is already in the Tao interrogation realm, yet her pulse is still like this, and she is still saying she is fine. At that moment, Hong Ling also enters the room. Master Bai then tells her senior sister that it is just a small matter and starts moving forward. Then she asks Hong Ling about Lu Yi, asking where he is right now. In response, Hong Ling says that after getting first place, senior brother disappeared. He should have left the sect to go out and gain experience. Hearing this, Master Bai immediately understands where Lu Yi might have gone. She says that he is probably in the God Burial Ridge. Hong Ling replies that it should be so. Then Master Bai says that they should go and check once. Hong Ling responds by saying, "How about you go, Master?" Meanwhile, the senior sister, who is standing on the side, is extremely confused. She starts thinking, wait, how do they know where Lu Yi went to train, and also what is this God Burial Ridge? Why do I know nothing about it? Someone please explain everything to her, she has been confused for a long time. But neither of them is in the mood to answer her. They quickly leave to find Lu Yi. Now the senior sister also starts following behind them. She says, "Damn you, Bai Qian! I treated you as my best friend, yet you treat me like this. What exactly are you hiding from me?" Master Bai turns back, smiles, and says, "We were wondering whether you would follow us." Hearing this, the senior sister puffs up her cheeks and says, "Bullshit! With my personality as your senior sister, how could I not follow?" Then she says to Hong Ling, "You, Hong Ling, you look absent-minded. You must be hiding something from me, right?" But Hong Ling clearly denies it, although she hesitates a little, and says that she was just wondering how much longer it will take for them to arrive. While walking forward, she starts thinking, "Senior brother, I know I was wrong. You definitely must not be in danger." After some time, they arrive near a cave. At the entrance of the cave, someone is kneeling. It is Chu Ling. She is still waiting for her young master to come out and forgive her. Just then, a voice comes from behind, asking where her senior brother is. As soon as Chu Ling sees them, she greets them first and says that he is still inside. When the senior sister hears Chu Ling addressing them as senior sisters, she is once again shocked and starts thinking, there must be some earth-shattering gossip behind this woman. She only wants gossip. When will she finally learn the truth and spread it throughout the sect? Someone please tell her the truth. Anyway, Chu Ling says that to reply to Sister Yi, young master has already entered the God Burial Ridge, and she is here acting as his Dharma protector. Hong Ling says that she is a bit worried, and that they should go inside the God Burial Ridge and take a look. In response, Chu Ling asks what she is worried about. Then Hong Ling leans close to her ear and says, "What you have done, I have done as well." Hearing this, Chu Ling is completely shocked and unable to react. Then she says, "You also poisoned him? What poison did you use?" Hong Ling replies, "It's primordial morning mist." As soon as she hears this, Chu Ling immediately rushes into the cave and says to hurry and check on young master. Now the senior sister also starts following them, thinking, God Burial Ridge, Een Poison, Primordial Morning Mist, why can't my vocabulary keep up? As she runs inside the cave, her foot suddenly hits something. When she looks down, she sees a huge insect-like creature, but it is dead. Seeing it, she is shocked and asks what it is. From inside, Chu Ling says not to be afraid, these are all corpse beetles killed by young master, and there is no danger. We then see that Lu Yi has killed a large number of beetles. Seeing all this, the senior sister starts thinking, these corpse beetles are all at the sentient intent realm, while Lu Yi is only at the origin core realm. Doesn't anyone find this strange? As Chu Ling moves further inside, she sees that the formation inside has already been broken by young master, and everyone can enter safely. Then we are shown the inside scene, where there are huge statues, and beneath them, Lu Yi is sitting and cultivating. As soon as Chu Ling sees him, she shouts, "Young master!" At the same time, Hong Ling starts thinking, fortunately, the primordial morning mist has not erupted yet. But then we see Lu Yi clenching his fist tightly, veins appearing on his arm. The poison mist starts entering his body, causing him pain. Sweat begins to drip from his face. Hong Ling suddenly shouts, "Not good! The primordial morning mist followed us here!" Immediately, Chu Ling jumps forward to save Lu Yi, extremely anxious. But at that moment, Lu Yi opens his eyes, and strange veins appear across his face. Hong Ling says, "Senior brother, this is primordial morning mist. You won't be able to withstand it. Let master help you, let her use Taiyin power to temporarily freeze you." At that moment, blood starts coming out of Lu Yi's mouth, and he begins screaming. Chu Ling immediately draws her sword and says that young master told them to leave, and she is his Dharma protector. Tears appear in her eyes as she orders everyone to back out. Hearing this, Hong Ling turns back, and Master Bai also turns away. Hong Ling says, "Fine, leave then, it's not like I care." Master Bai says, "Let's go. He doesn't need help anyway." As they walk outside, suddenly a massive explosion occurs inside the cave. Intense flames burst out, and seeing this, both of them are completely shocked. Master Bai shouts, "Lu Yi!" She starts thinking, this underground palace space was... The scene begins with Hong Ling breaking down in tears as she cries out, "Master! I killed Lu Yi! I killed him once again, he clearly had 9 lives, why? Master Bai slowly turns around and looks at her. Then she raises her finger forward, and a strange blue aura gathers around it. She calmly says, "Hong Ling, it's okay, get some rest." As she speaks, she uses her power, and Hong Ling instantly falls asleep, her body finally calming down. Holding Hong Ling in her arms, Master Bai sits there quietly, her expression turning heavy as she thinks to herself, "Lu Yi, exactly how much pain are you enduring?" At that moment, senior sister arrives behind her and softly asks, "How about we go in and take a look?" Master Bai closes her eyes and replies, "Let's wait a little longer." 2 hours later, a strong purple aura is still surging out of the cave. Master Bai slowly walks toward it and mutters, "Setting infinite. Lu Yi has broken through. I'll go take a look." With that, she steps inside the cave. The moment she enters, broken stones are scattered everywhere, and a dense aura fills the surroundings. After walking a bit further, she finally sees Lu Yi. He is sitting on the ground in a half-conscious state, his body releasing an intense purple energy that pulses continuously. Seeing his condition, Master Bai asks, "Lu Yi, how are you?" Lu Yi slowly opens one eye. His face is drenched in sweat, and he takes a deep breath before replying, "I'm fine. Master, may I ask, what poison did you inflict on me?" Master Bai goes silent for a moment, then says, "The poison I inflicted on you is called the Tai-in marrow bug. It can..." But before she can finish, Lu Yi raises his hand and stops her. "Every time I break through, a new poison emerges. Master, what number are you, among those who poison me?" Master Bai hesitates and says, I am not too sure either." Lu Yi then stands up and says calmly, "Then there's no need to continue. I'm going back." He walks past her and adds, "Master must have already broken through to the Tao integration realm. Then the chaos poison should have stabilized your condition by now, right?" He lets out a faint laugh as he walks away. Then he turns back once more and says, "That kind of pain, you should now understand." After saying that, he leaves. Master Bai just stands there, watching him walk out of the cave, her face filled with tension and uneasiness. The scene shifts. Hong Ling suddenly wakes up and screams, "Senior brother!" She sits up in panic and immediately asks, "How is senior brother? How is he?" At that moment, Master Bai arrives and says, "Hong Ling, don't worry too much. He is already fine." But Hong Ling looks confused and says, "Really? Have 7 days already passed? The primordial morning mist takes 7 days to dissipate." Master Bai replies, "Only 1 day has passed. But judging from how calm Lu Ye's reaction is, he should be fine." She places her hand on Hong Ling's shoulder and continues, "Forget about Lu Yi. The ancient heaven's chosen battlefield will open in half a year. You will be able to see Feng Wuxie then." Hearing Feng Wuxie's name, Hong Ling is stunned. She thinks to herself, "Feng Wuxie, right, how could I have almost forgotten about him?" But suddenly she stands up and says, "No! I have to watch over senior brother." And she rushes out immediately. Behind her, Master Bai lets out a deep sigh and murmurs, "It seems, in this life, she has completely fallen in love with Lu Yi." A while later, Hong Ling arrives outside Lu Ye's room. Chu Ling is already sitting there, and seeing Hong Ling, she looks surprised and says, "Sister Hong Ling?" Hong Ling walks forward and says, "I will keep watch over senior brother with you." She moves to the window, places her hand on it, and softly says, "Senior brother, I was wrong, you must be safe." Inside the room, Lu Yi is sitting on his bed in a cultivation posture. He slowly opens his eyes and says, "I finally made it through." In his hand, there is a strange small soul, an exact miniature version of himself. Golden spiritual energy radiates from that soul. Lu Yi smiles and says, "I did not expect the primordial morning mist to be so effective. It can even refine the nascent soul." But suddenly, the little soul raises its middle finger at him and puffs up its face in anger. Seeing this, Lu Yi bursts into laughter. He says, "Oh, so this is not just a setting infinite, but a setting infinite, same joint infinite." A sharp light flashes in his eyes as he declares, "In this life, I will leave you all far behind, and watch how you disappear when the time comes." The scene shifts again. A massive bell at the top of a tower rings loudly. An announcement echoes, "Ninth generation disciples, heed my command! Everyone gather in front of the great Tao Pavilion." Lu Yi, who is sitting in his room drinking tea, hears the announcement and says, "What happened?" At that moment, his system suddenly beeps, and a panel appears. The system says, "Master, did you forget? The ancient heaven's chosen battlefield has opened." Lu Yi is slightly surprised, but then says, "The ancient heaven's chosen battlefield. In my past life, when I participated, I was only at the 6th layer of the origin core realm, but in this life, I am already at the 5th layer of the setting infinite realm. I will definitely achieve great things." With that, he immediately sets off toward the battlefield, standing on his flying sword. "Let's go, time to head to the Great Tao Pavilion." Soon, at the Great Tao Pavilion, countless disciples have already gathered. An elder steps forward and announces, abnormalities have appeared in the ancient Heaven's chosen battlefield. It will soon open in the Nine Dragons Valley of the Central Region. This ancient battlefield opens once every 1,000,000 years, and the resources within are extremely abundant. Anyone under 100 years old may enter, making it the most suitable battlefield for all of you. At that moment, Chu Ling comes up behind Lu Yi and says, Young master, you will definitely go, right? However, it is filled with danger, killing intent, and countless threats. The undead spirits of ancient heavens wander within. The chosen of demon spirits, monsters, and ghost races will also enter. Other sects will kill to steal treasures, so please think carefully and act cautiously. She falls silent. At the same time, Hong Ling is also shown watching Lu Yi silently. Then, we get a brief glimpse of Feng Wuxie. Hong Ling thinks to herself, Feng Wuxie, we will fight side by side again. In the previous episode, we saw that a secret realm was about to open. As mentioned earlier, it was supposed to open after some time, but now very little time is left before it actually opens. At this point, it is almost about to open. Everyone here is already prepared to head toward the place where it will appear. Now, the graded setup is ready, and from it, a flagship arrives carrying people toward that location. Our Louis is the first one to go up. Right behind him, the one who is supposed to be with him, well, not a betrayer, but Chu Ling, follows. Chu Ling goes up and says, Master, wait for a moment, we're coming too. Meanwhile, we see a dark place where someone shouts excitedly, Oh my God! Finally, the battlefield has opened! We have been waiting for this for a long time. Then, laughing, he says, Go, my children, set everything on fire. Not a single genius from the Roddy Spark should be left alive. Spread our name everywhere, because we are about to cause massive chaos here. These are all demons. On the other side, we see the monster race. Their greatest leader appears and says, Finally, the battlefield, the secret realm, is about to open. As soon as it opens, I want human essence. The essence comes from inside humans, and he further declares, Whoever brings me the strongest essence and resources, I will promote them. I will make them a monster king and personally guide them, teaching them supreme techniques so they can master the ultimate monster arts. Hearing this, all the monsters become excited and declare they are ready to do anything and will spare no one. Among them, we notice one monster who seems to be female. She thinks to herself, In this life, I must kill the spirit monster emperor. Only after I eliminate him will peace return to the monster race. Now we return to Louis, who has already set off. On the way, everyone is traveling together when one excited guy says, Do you know which dynasties and sects are coming? 3 dynasties and 5 sects are going to arrive, and we are one of them. He continues, Brother Louis, I want to tell you something. Maybe you don't know, but I'll explain which forces are coming. Then he starts listing them, explaining the major powers of the central region where they are heading, including several dynasties and 5 great sections. He eagerly continues naming them just to show off in front of Hong Ling, listing sects like Yang Sect, Supreme So Sect, Mountain Sect, Holy Tower Sect, and others. Hong Ling looks at him strangely, clearly annoyed. She seems to want someone to shut him up. Louis finally interrupts, saying, Enough, how many names are you going to take? We'll see when they arrive. But the guy insists on finishing, saying that having information is important, and that many things are about to happen, so they need to be careful. Meanwhile, Chu Ling approaches Hong Ling and says, We're about to arrive. Come quickly, I want to show you something. Soon, we see a gathering place where everyone must assemble. A flying ship lands, and people begin stepping down. Everyone watches them. One person comments, Wow, the girls from Yang Sect are amazing, so beautiful and attractive that I can't even take my eyes off them. Another adds that even the Joy Union Pavilion has stunning girls, and many powerful figures are arriving. He also mentions that this will bring great business to the city since wealthy people will spend a lot. Then we see 2 members from Yang Sect, the Holy Maiden, Lu Yuan, and the Holy Son, Yang Wufa. People begin speculating that since one has yin and the other has yang, they might be Dao companions. When yin and yang combine, it creates a powerful reaction, increasing their strength through dual cultivation. It is common in their sect, so they might be a couple, or maybe not. It's just speculation. On the other side, people from the Supreme Source sect arrive. Their aura is extremely powerful, and their presence alone creates intense pressure. Their sword intent is so strong that people are shocked. One person jokes nervously about his third sword trembling, then quickly corrects himself, saying he just means their cultivation is incredibly strong. Then our main group arrives, the team from the Great Tao. Their entrance is grand, and people are amazed. 3 beautiful girls step down, with Louis in front of them. The situation is very different from before. As soon as one of the senior sisters steps down, the holy son Yang Wufa approaches to flirt. He introduces himself and asks her name. She replies coldly, "My name is Zhao Rong, and I'm not happy to meet you." He then asks the names of the other 2, but Hong Ling gets furious and tells him to get lost. He backs off, muttering about their attitude. Louis watches silently, recognizing him from the past and recalling how he once beat him badly. Soon, Louis leaves and flies away to cultivate alone. One of the girls notices and asks where he is going, but he doesn't respond. There is deep resentment within him that won't be resolved easily. He sits down and begins cultivating, even though the secret realm is about to open. People are annoyed, saying, "What kind of guy is this? Even at a time like this, he's cultivating." The girls try to talk to him, but he ignores them, making others even more irritated. Then someone says, "Forget all that. I'll show you real beauty. The prince from the Supreme Emperor dynasty is about to arrive." The third prince, Shangguan Wuqing, arrives along with Princess Shangguan Wanling. They both have extraordinary status. When Louis hears her name, he reacts but says it doesn't matter to him anymore in this life. The princess notices Louis and thinks, "That's Louis. What happened between him and those 2 girls? Why do they look so sad? Didn't we all hate him deeply?" Her companion asks what she is looking at, praising the beauty of the girls nearby. She warns him not to look at Louis and says, "He is not your opponent. Don't provoke him, or you will face serious consequences." But he arrogantly replies that once they enter the ancient battlefield, his first target will be Louis. The princess smirks coldly and thinks, "Maybe I should let Louis deal with him, that would make things easier for me." Her thoughts are dark and calculating, though her companion remains unaware, confidently moving forward and showing off. Finally, after some time, bright lights begin to appear, and everyone gathers together as the moment of the secret realm's opening draws near. We see here that someone announces that the chosen battlefield, the secret realm, has finally opened. As soon as it opens, someone immediately rushes in first, and that person is none other than Louis. He is in a huge hurry and directly enters without wasting a second. Chuling, who is with him, calls out, "Young master, please wait for me." But he doesn't stop and goes straight inside. As he enters, people start talking among themselves, wondering why he is in such a rush to go first. They then realize that the disciple of the Great Tao has successfully entered the secret realm. Now, the holy son from the Yang sect feels extremely jealous. He says, "How dare he enter first? I won't let him go," and immediately follows him inside. Soon, both of them enter the secret realm together. The holy son says angrily, "I was the one who stepped in first, and you've been following me? But it doesn't matter, today I will kill you." Louis replies calmly, "Oh? You'll kill me? Let's see who kills whom. I already hate you anyway." Both of them are ready to fight, as there is deep hostility between them. The holy son launches the first attack, using a powerful technique. It is a strong and impressive attack, but just as it is about to hit Louis, Louis destroys it with a single punch. Then he says, "Is this all the power you have?" The holy son, slightly shocked, replies, "Wow, I didn't expect that. You do have some ability. I thought you would die in one move." Louis responds coldly, "So this is all you've got? I thought you would be stronger, but it looks like this is your limit. Now it's your turn to face my power." With that, Louis uses his palm technique called the Celestial Venerable Fist. This attack is extremely powerful and not something to be taken lightly. As he strikes, the Holy Sun tries to resist, but he is completely overwhelmed. The moment the attack lands, he is blasted backward, his breath is taken away, and he dies instantly. He will never get up again. Louis walks up to his body and says, "You came to challenge me with this level of strength? In my past life, you might have lasted longer, but in this life, you couldn't even withstand a single attack. How disappointing, Holy Sun." He then takes the ring from his finger and says, "I'll take this as compensation." After that, he says to himself, "Now I need to find my sword. Without it, my life feels incomplete." He entered the secret realm specifically to find his strongest sword. Later, when others enter the realm, they see the Holy Sun's corpse and are completely shocked. They wonder who could have done this. The Holy Sun was a powerful title given only to strong individuals, yet he was killed in a single attack. Everyone is frightened and confused, unable to believe what they are seeing. Outside the realm, a crystal suddenly shatters. People immediately realize that someone has been eliminated and start asking whose life stone has broken. It is revealed that the Holy Sun has died, while the Holy Maiden is still alive. She asks an elder what happened, and he confirms the shocking news. She angrily says, "That useless trash! I knew he would bring shame to us." Then she decides to personally investigate what happened and find out who killed him. Meanwhile, people outside start gossiping, saying that the young sect's Holy Sun turned out to be extremely weak, dying so easily. They mock him and tarnish his reputation, calling him useless despite his high status. At this point, the prince from the Supreme Emperor dynasty arrives. After seeing everything, he says, "Looks like this won't be boring. This is going to be interesting." Then he also enters the secret realm. The princess watches him go with a deadly smile and thinks, "Go ahead. You won't be bored at all. A big surprise is waiting for you, one that has been waiting for a long time." Her thoughts are dark and filled with hidden intentions. Inside the secret realm, we see an area filled with stone swords. Louis arrives there and says emotionally, "You don't know how much I've missed you. Every moment without you felt incomplete. Without you, I can't even use any other weapon." He is speaking to his sword. As he moves forward, countless swords attack him, but he destroys them all and continues advancing. He says, "Looks like it's time to fight again." With a powerful strike, he destroys everything in front of him, clearing his path completely. Finally, he reaches the stone sword he has been searching for. He approaches it slowly, filled with excitement, and says, "I've missed you for so many years. I missed you so much, my dear." Then he grabs it and says, "Don't be confused or afraid. Your true master has returned." At that moment, a powerful energy bursts out. Suddenly, a voice responds, "Who are you calling confused? Who said I'm afraid? I'm not afraid of anyone. I cut down anyone who comes before me." This is the sword spirit speaking, Louis realizes. So this is the spirit of my sword. He remembers that the sword spirit has a timid nature and doesn't easily reveal itself, but if it stays with him, it will become much stronger. He confidently declares that he will show it what true strength really means. A massive amount of energy continues to surge as he speaks to the spirit. In the previous episode, we saw how Louis entered the battlefield. Inside the battlefield, a guy suddenly collided with him, but Louis easily finished him off in just a few attacks. After that, he continued moving forward toward the stone sword. As he finally reached the stone sword after overcoming several obstacles, Louis stepped forward and began trying to persuade the sword spirit. While convincing it, he said, "I can give you immense power. I can make you incredibly strong." He kept mentioning big words, words that represented power, invincibility, and dominance. He wanted to make the stone sword extremely powerful and said, "If you follow me, you will gain unimaginable strength. You can even become invincible." Now the sword responded, "What you're saying sounds right, but what guarantee do I have?" Louis confidently replied, "I guarantee you won't regret it." If you come with me, you'll become an incredibly powerful sword. Meanwhile, on the other side, the source spirit was listening to all this. Even though it didn't fully understand those fancy words, they sounded impressive. Words like power, invincible, strong. So it thought, I don't really understand what you're saying, but it sounds awesome. And just like that, the sword agreed to the deal and came into Lu Ye's hand. The moment it entered his hand, Lu Ye released his power and said, Since you've come with me, your name is Stone Sword, but I'll call you Stone as your nickname. Is that okay? The sword instantly disagreed. What kind of trash name is that? I don't like it at all. Give me a better, cooler name. Lu Ye replied. Come on, Stone Sword sounds perfectly fine. I'll just call you Sword, or maybe the nickname I chose, Little Stone. That sounds good, right? The sword got even more annoyed. That's such a terrible name. I hate it. Give me something cooler. But before this argument could continue, a voice suddenly came from behind. Someone was congratulating the young master, and it was none other than Chu Ling. She arrived happily and said, Congratulations, young master. You've regained the stone sword again. But Lu Ye didn't pay attention to her at all. Holding the stone sword, he said, All right, enough talking. I'll just call you Stone Sword. The sword was still angry, but Lu Ye completely ignored it and started walking away. As he was leaving, Chu Ling called out, Where are you going? Can you wait for me? But Lu Ye ignored her as well and kept moving forward. He already knew his next target, where to go and what treasures to obtain. He thought, I've already taken the main treasure of this place, which was my source. Now it's time for the next one, the treasure hidden beneath this lake. Saying that, he jumped straight down. Now we are shown the lake, a massive body of clear water, considered the first level of the battlefield. This water was extremely special. Anyone who entered it would have their aptitude improved. There were also rumors that to keep this water pure, a special hidden pearl existed somewhere deep within the lake. But the lake's bottom was extremely deep, and no one knew exactly where the pearl was. Still, many people were diving down to find it. Among them was Hong Ling. She thought to herself, In my previous life, senior brother Lu Ye brought that pearl for me. So I believe these rumors are true. But this time, I'll obtain it myself. Behind her, many others were also diving. They all wanted the treasure. But the deeper they went, the more painful it became. This wasn't ordinary water. One disciple started struggling and said, I've reached 2,000 meters. I can't go any further. I can't endure this pain anymore. He tried to retreat but couldn't. He called for help. His senior rushed to save him, but even he couldn't withstand the pressure. Blood came out of his mouth, and he was forced to retreat upward as well. At the same time, the prince of the Supreme Dynasty was diving rapidly downward. Hong Ling was also going down quickly. The prince created a bubble around his mouth using his power so he could speak underwater. He said, You've been keeping up with me for quite a while. I'm impressed. But I don't even know who you are. At least tell me your name. I am Xing Wuqing, from the Supreme Emperor Dynasty. After hearing this, Hong Ling replied, Yes, I know about you, or rather, I know your younger sister Hong Ling quite well. The prince smiled and said, Oh, so you know my sister. Then you must be from the same dynasty. In that case, how about I invite you on a private date? Hong Ling smirked and said, Nice joke. But whether you're worthy of dating me depends on your ability. The deeper you go, the more impressed I'll be. She only said that to brush him off, but the prince took it seriously. That's easy. Piece of cake. He sped up and went deeper. Even Hong Ling was surprised at his speed. He quickly overtook her. She got annoyed and thought, I gave him a finger, and he wants the whole arm? No way. Immediately, she launched a spiritual palm attack. The prince sensed the attack and turned back to block it, saying, Wait, you told me to go deeper, and now you're attacking me? But Hong Ling ignored him and used her fearless skill, sending a massive dragon made of spiritual energy toward him. The attack was incredibly powerful. It dragged the prince upward instead of letting him go deeper. This was all so Hong Ling could continue downward without competition. The prince was furious but helpless. Meanwhile, Hong Ling continued diving, reaching 2,500 meters. She recalled something. In my previous life, Senior Lu Yi said the treasure was around 1,000 to 1,500 meters deep. But now she had gone much deeper, and the pain was unbearable. Even at 3,000 meters, she still hadn't found anything. She started doubting. Did Senior lie to me? Or did he hide the truth about how much suffering he endured to get this treasure for me? She refused to give up and pushed further down, enduring even more pain. Finally, she saw faint lights below. As she reached there, she found it. The pearl. The moment she grabbed it, all the pressure around her disappeared instantly. If she had been even a little late, her bones would have shattered completely. Holding the pearl, she thought, with this, I can recover my body, and greatly improve my aptitude. But then realization hit her hard. Senior, he lied to me. He must have gone through even greater suffering to get this for me, risking his life in such a dangerous place. Thinking about this, she became extremely emotional. Even underwater, tears started flowing from her eyes. He did so much for me. Now she was confused. What should I do now? I've obtained it myself in this life, but the pain he endured in the previous life must have been far greater. Overwhelmed with emotions, she kept crying. In the previous episode, we saw that Hong Ling needed a pearl. When she finally obtained that pearl, she realized that the water pressure there was extremely intense. At that moment, she also came to understand what her senior had gone through in her previous life to obtain this very pearl. All the pain, suffering, and hardship he endured became clear to her. He had gone through immense difficulty just to bring it back. Because of this, Hong Ling became very emotional. She was deeply saddened and started crying. She said, Senior brother, you were truly so kind to me. I know how good you were to me. The way you treated me, no one else ever could. You treated me even better than anyone else ever did. Even Feng Wuji probably never treated me as well as you did. But then she wondered, is this love? She said that it didn't feel like love to her, because whenever she used to be with Feng Wuji, or whatever his name was, her heart would race uncontrollably, and she would feel a strong warmth throughout her body. However, in this life, she made a firm decision. She said, Senior, I will stay by your side in this life. I will always remain with you, this is my promise. No matter what happens, even if it costs me my life, I will never let you fall into danger. I am ready to do anything for you. After saying this, she consumed the pearl. The moment she swallowed it, her body began to undergo significant changes. Very soon, when she emerged, it was clear that she had already broken through to the next level, the next realm, and had become much stronger than before. As she came out, we saw a prince who had been fighting earlier. He approached her and said that he had been waiting for her for a long time. He even mocked her, saying, You were jumping around quite a lot underwater, but now that you're out, you won't be able to do that anymore. Come, let's fight again and see who's stronger. When Hong Ling saw him, she replied casually, You couldn't even touch me underwater, so what do you think you can do now outside? Just leave quickly. But the prince didn't care. He stepped forward to attack and said, I don't care about any of that. You will have to do as I say. However, Hong Ling simply threw a single punch, just one punch, and the pressure from it was so overwhelming that the prince struggled to withstand it. He was barely able to handle the energy and was pushed back. Hong Ling calmly said, That's all it took. If you still want to continue, I don't mind, but you'll lose your life if I go any further. At this point, the prince was visibly terrified. Sweat poured down his face as he thought. She was already strong underwater, but now she's even stronger outside. What exactly did she gain down there to increase her power this much in such a short time? Completely shaken, he backed off. After that, the scene shifted to another location, the 100 Medicine Valley in the first-level battlefield. This valley was filled with numerous portal-like formations. Someone arrived there to inspect it, and that person was none other than Luya. As Luya entered, he said that there were rumors that this place was an ancient garden belonging to a powerful sect. However, he knew the truth, it wasn't just a garden. It contained many hidden treasures and strange items. He had come here specifically to take them. He immediately set his eyes on a sunflower, a golden heaven-grade sunflower. However, the sunflower was protected by a formation, and that formation had to be broken before anyone could obtain it. As Luya approached, he thought, just like in my previous life, I will obtain this again in this life. I'm repeating the same actions, though some things are slightly different. But when he got closer, he realized that someone else had already arrived before him and was attacking the formation. He was surprised and wondered who this talented person was who had already discovered the flower. Looking ahead, he saw a man continuously attacking the formation, trying to break it and take the treasure. Luya immediately rushed forward, thinking that if he didn't intervene, the formation might collapse unpredictably. He stopped the attack and said, "Are you even human or some kind of monster? Or are you a ghost?" The man replied casually, "Just look at me and figure it out. What do you think I am?" The other guy laughed it off and said he was joking, even complimenting Luya's looks. Then Luya said, "All right, tell me your name." The man gave a random name like Li Hueo, but Luya didn't care much and instead said, "Focus carefully and watch how I break this formation. You need to learn from what I do." As Luya began attacking, he skillfully dismantled the formation piece by piece. Watching this, the other man was completely shocked. His mouth was wide open as he thought. He just reversed the entire system of the formation. He could even replace it with his own. He was amazed and kept muttering in disbelief, trying to memorize everything. He even thought of taking notes and later spreading this knowledge. Once Luya successfully broke the formation and obtained the sunflower, he quickly left. Before leaving, he said, "Enjoy yourself here. I've left a little surprise for you." The other man shouted, "Hey! At least tell me your name." But Luya didn't respond. Soon after, a strange purple mist began spreading around. The man realized that the entire formation had changed. Suddenly, he collided with something and looked up, only to see two burly men standing there, calling out to him in a disturbing way. His whole world shook as he realized it was an illusion left behind by Luya. Trembling, he said, "If you were going to create an illusion, at least make it something better." He panicked and ran away. Then the scene shifted again, to a spirit pool, a place rich in dense spiritual energy, perfect for cultivation and rapid growth. As Luya approached the pool, he suddenly sensed danger. A man came running toward him, screaming for help before collapsing. Behind him were numerous monsters, far too many. Luya sighed and said, "Looks like it's time for some action." He drew his sword and charged forward. With a single strike, he cut down one monster instantly. Then he continued fighting, taking down more and more. After eliminating all of them, he returned to the injured disciple. The disciple knelt and thanked him sincerely, saying, "You saved my life. I will never forget this moment. I'm from Qin sect, my name is Ji Liang. If we meet again in the future, I will definitely repay you." Luya simply brushed it off, saying he didn't need any repayment. Lu Yi had already arrived near the bridge, the very bridge where his cultivation was destined to increase. As he approached it, he saved a man who was being chased by a group of monsters. After killing those monsters, he moved forward and even said to himself that now the real battle had truly begun, because these monster races would keep launching attack after attack without stopping, and he would keep striking back again and again until he wiped them out completely. But from the other side, more people began to arrive. As they rushed over, they shouted warnings to him. The entire heavenly spirit pool had already been occupied, and the ones who had taken control of it were none other than the monster race. A huge number of humans had already been slaughtered by them. The monsters had seized the entire bridge. They urged him to leave quickly, or else all the human cultivators would end up dead. They kept telling all this to Lu Yi and insisted that they needed to join the alliance immediately. Only by joining the alliance could they survive, escape the monsters, and eventually fight back. Hearing this, Lu Yi asked in confusion who was leading this alliance. The man replied that it was Hong Ling, Liu Ye's own junior. She had grown incredibly strong. He had seen it before. She had formed an alliance to fight against the monster race, and many cultivators were supporting her and fighting under her command. As Liu Yi listened, he realized that the human race had formed an alliance, and it was being led by his own junior. The others, while running, told him it would be better to ignore everything else and join them quickly. Together, step by step, they could defeat the monsters and demons. But ignoring their words, Liu Yi continued moving forward. His destination was the Heavenly Spirit Pool, and that was exactly where he intended to go. He dismissed them, telling them to take care of themselves while he left. In his mind, he thought this was strange. This hadn't happened in his previous life. In this life, Hong Ling had changed many things. Whatever, he thought. It doesn't matter to me. I just need power. And so he kept moving forward. Seeing this, one of the men shouted like a madman, calling him crazy. He warned that there were countless monsters ahead. They had barely escaped with their lives, and yet Liu Yi was walking straight into death. Liu Yi casually replied, telling them to let him go, as he continued toward the Heavenly Spirit Pool. At the pool, countless monsters were leisurely absorbing its energy. Around them lay the corpses of dead cultivators, and the monsters were eating and drinking, enjoying themselves as if it were a feast. Right in the middle of them, Liu Yi walked in calmly. When Liu Yi saw this, he realized that the monsters had completely taken over the place and were enjoying themselves without a care. The monsters soon noticed him. "Oh? Look who's here," they said. "A lone human dares to come here? What can he possibly do alone? Does he think he can kill us all by himself? Maybe he could kill one or two, but against all of us? Impossible. This guy is way too arrogant. We need to crush that arrogance." One of them, a tiger-type monster, stepped forward. The others began cheering him on. He confidently said there was no need to worry. He would kill this human easily. His subordinates laughed, saying they would make the human beg for mercy, force him to kneel, and torture him before finishing him off. The tiger monster agreed, saying he would kill him in the most brutal way. But as he kept talking arrogantly, a single sword strike flashed through the air, powerful enough to kill instantly. It was Liu Ye's strike. With one blow, the monster was cut down. Liu Yi coldly said that if they wanted to fight, they should just fight. Why keep shouting like petty villains? He was already annoyed with those who talked too much before dying. As soon as one monster fell, 100 more rushed forward to attack. Liu Yi stood calmly in place, declaring that he was ready. To him, they were nothing more than ants. With a single strike, multiple waves of sword intent burst out. Wherever the attack landed, monsters fell dead one after another. In just a short time, he wiped out over 100 enemies. Only a few strong ones remained. They launched their attacks, and Liu Yi acknowledged that their attacks were indeed powerful, but still not enough to kill him. Calmly, he destroyed them as well with a single strike, shattering their attacks completely. Seeing this terrifying scene, the remaining monsters were filled with fear. They began shouting to run, calling him a monster even greater than themselves. Realizing they couldn't escape, they dropped to their knees and begged for mercy. They even offered to become his mounts, willing to serve him if only he spared their lives. But Liu Yi refused. He said they had killed too many humans, and justice had to be served. He gave them a final chance. He would strike once more, and whether they lived or died would depend on their fate. With a single attack, all of them were wiped out. After that, Liu Yi remained alone at the bridge, calmly absorbing the spiritual energy of the Heavenly Spirit Pool and increasing his strength. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a messenger rushed to report to the sanctified Monster King. He informed him that a powerful human had arrived and had killed over 100 monsters with just a single strike. If they didn't eliminate him, many more of their kind would die. The king, however, reacted differently. Instead of being alarmed, he killed the messenger for speaking in fear, accusing him of betrayal. He reminded everyone that even if the enemy was terrifying, they still had a mission to complete first. Their primary goal, he declared, was to hunt down Feng Wuji. That was their top priority. Only after that would they deal with Lu Yi. The monsters immediately agreed, promising to find and kill Feng Wuji at all costs. The king declared that once Feng Wuji was dead, they would deal with Lu Yi afterward. At that moment, they discovered Feng Wuji's location, and the king led his forces out. They shouted their loyalty, declaring they would not spare anyone, even offering their lives if necessary. The king laughed, saying that this time he would wipe out the entire Phoenix clan from the world. On the other side, a girl stood calmly. It was Hong Ling. She thought to herself that in this life, she had already completed the things Lu Yi had done in his previous life, and even earlier than him. She had gathered people and formed the alliance to protect everyone. She began giving instructions on what needed to be done, then announced that she would leave. When someone asked where she was going, she replied that she was going to find her true love. If fate allowed, they would meet again. With that, she left. Elsewhere, a heavily injured man was gasping for breath, covered in wounds. He confronted his attacker, asking why he was being targeted, what grudge existed between them. The attacker mocked him, saying that in this world, the weak always kneel before the strong and beg for mercy. He refused to explain himself, saying he didn't have time to justify his actions to worthless people. Enraged, the injured man challenged him to a one-on-one fight, accusing him of bringing others along like a coward. This angered the attacker even more. He insisted he had fought fairly and alone, and yet was still being accused. Furious, he shouted that he would break the man's legs no matter what. Feng Wuji was running for his life while grumbling in frustration. Man, what the hell did I even do to deserve this? Why are these guys so obsessed with chasing me? He muttered angrily. Just wait. The moment I become strong enough, the very first thing I'll do is wipe out this entire race. Just when things were starting to look hopeless, voices suddenly echoed from behind. And the person arriving wasn't anyone else but Hong Ling. The moment Feng Wuji saw her, he froze. Hong Ling looked incredibly worried as she rushed toward him. I'm coming! Don't worry, I'll save you! She shouted. Feng Wuji blinked in shock. Damn, she's beautiful, he thought, completely stunned. My heart almost skipped a beat. I totally forgot I was literally in danger for a second. Hong Ling rushed past him and launched herself toward the enemies. At the same time, thoughts flooded her mind. Finally, I've met Feng Wuji again. For so long, he has been the only person in my heart. Back when he died, the pain I went through was unbearable. I can't even explain what that felt like. But now that I've found him again, I'll stay by his side no matter what. I'm not letting him die this time. Meanwhile, Feng Wuji immediately started running with her as more enemies continued to pour in. The two sprinted side by side. Feng Wuji couldn't hold himself back anymore. Who exactly are you? He asked while running. And why are you risking your life for me? Hong Ling glanced at him. Can you stop talking for 1 second and just run? She snapped. Why are you making so much noise? Behind them, the ones chasing Hong Ling weren't humans. They were monsters. Their king roared furiously. You idiots! He shouted. You couldn't even handle one simple job? Someone came to rescue him, and you just stood there? I specifically ordered you to kill any human that came anywhere near this place. You useless trash! Hurry up and kill those 2 thieves! Yes, master! The monsters yelled nervously. We'll deal with them right now. While running, Hong Ling finally asked. So why exactly are this many monsters chasing you? Feng Wuji scratched his head helplessly. How am I supposed to know? I seriously have no idea why they're after me. Hong Ling silently frowned. In the last timeline, this wasn't supposed to happen, she thought. Back then, senior brother was with me, so everything was solved easily. This time, I recreated my group and handled everything early just to prepare for this event. I never expected things to get this dangerous. But it's fine. I still have enough power to save him. Even so, my priority right now is protecting Feng Wuji. Meanwhile, Feng Wuji's thoughts were very different. These monsters are probably chasing me because they're jealous, he thought confidently. I mean, look at me. I'm ridiculously handsome, powerful, and charming. Obviously they want me dead. Hearing his ridiculous self-confidence instantly reminded Hong Ling of someone. A very dangerous someone. Senior brother Louis. He talks exactly like senior brother, she thought. But wait, why am I even thinking about Louis right now? I finally reunited with the man I love. This isn't the time to think about senior brother. She immediately tried to push the thoughts away. Meanwhile, on the other side, Louis was peacefully sitting inside a cultivation pool, relaxing like he owned the place. And honestly, this guy had absolutely zero interest in romance. No offense, but in Louis's eyes, women were trouble. After all, in his previous experiences, every woman had betrayed him. Never keep betrayers in your heart, Louis thought coldly. Learn from me. Though honestly, who knows? Maybe some lower-ranked heroine would eventually fall for him. After all, even Louis had read enough novels to know how these stories usually went. Still, he had no intention of revealing anything yet. He simply sat in the pool and cultivated. My cultivation speed is insane, he thought calmly. I've already reached the 6th level of the Nelson Soul Realm. At this pace, I'll break through again soon. For 3 straight days, I've stayed inside this pool, and nobody has disturbed me once. Right as he finished thinking, Amidva! Amidva! A bald monk suddenly approached. The monk respectfully clasped his hands. Benefactor, you are truly impressive, he said politely. Our wisdom sect disciples have arrived to cultivate here. This place is extremely important to our sect. So, please kindly leave this spot. Louis looked at the bald monk and sighed. Oh great, baldies. These guys seriously want to die. Still, he spoke calmly. Look, I'm cultivating peacefully, Louis said. If you want to cultivate, then go ahead. But don't try to force me out. I arrived first. That means this place belongs to me. So here's my advice. Don't provoke me. Leave quietly while I'm still being nice. I didn't bother you, so don't bother me. The monk smiled awkwardly. Oh? How can you say we're bothering you? This pool is extremely important for our disciples. It contains special spiritual energy needed for our cultivation. So I'm kindly asking you to move. But Louis wasn't moving an inch. What do you mean move? He said coldly. I came first. You people really don't know when to stop. And wow, you even brought backup. 1 monk. 2 monks. 3. 5. No. 20 bald monks surrounded the area. One of them stepped forward. You refuse to cooperate, he said calmly. But we also know martial arts. We know exactly what to do. Louis narrowed his eyes. You really had the guts to say that? And worse, you stole my line. I was literally about to say that. If you won't leave, then the consequences are on you. In the next second. Boom! Louis unleashed a terrifying strike. The attack tore through the air like a disaster. Its sheer energy ripped straight through the monks. In a single attack. 1 move. That was all it took. Every last monk was annihilated. Louis clicked his tongue. What weird people, he muttered. I warned them not to mess around. They still came. They still died. What a life. Guess I should get used to this. Meanwhile, Hong Ling and Feng Wuji were still running. We seriously need a safe place, Feng Wuji said nervously. Otherwise, these monsters are gonna flatten us. Hong Ling nodded. We need to find senior brother. If we find him, every single one of these monsters will die instantly. Feng Wuji blinked. Your senior brother is that strong? Strong? Hong Ling said. He's far stronger than you can imagine. In this world, my senior brother is practically invincible. The moment Feng Wuji heard that, cold sweat formed on his forehead. Can you introduce me to him? He asked nervously. I'd really like to become friends with him. And, I swear I've never eaten humans. I may technically be a demon, but I'm a good demon. So, please don't make him beat me to death. Hong Ling laughed softly. Relax, she said. He doesn't hurt innocent people. He has a good heart. He definitely won't hurt you. Hearing that instantly made Feng Wuji relax. All right, he said. Since Hong Ling had asked him to create an opening so they could escape and find senior brother, Feng Wuji finally prepared himself. He activated his phoenix bloodline. Massive flames exploded around him. A terrifying phoenix aura filled the battlefield. The monsters instantly turned pale. Why didn't anyone tell us this kid was a phoenix? One screamed. You people just got us killed! Too late. The attack landed. Boom! The battlefield exploded. Monsters were completely blown apart. But Feng Wuji immediately collapsed from exhaustion. Hong Ling quickly caught him. Oh wow, she said worriedly. You're in terrible shape. Feng Wuji suddenly blinked. Wait. Did you just call me by my name? Do you know me? Hong Ling almost slipped. Oh yeah, she said quickly. I mean, I've heard about you for a long time. You're Feng Wuji, right? I heard a lot about you. You're apparently pretty amazing. Without wasting time, she quickly carried him away. Still confused, Feng Wuji asked. So where exactly did you hear about me? Honestly, he was nervous. A random beautiful girl suddenly appearing and risking her life to save him was suspicious. Hong Ling immediately changed the subject. Forget the questions for now, she said. We need to find senior brother first. As they traveled, Feng Wuji kept talking nonstop. After a while, he sighed. We've been walking forever. Where exactly is your senior brother? Hong Ling awkwardly scratched her cheek. I think we might be lost. Feng Wuji stared at her. Then suddenly smiled. You know, he said. Has anyone ever told you you're ridiculously beautiful? Hong Ling proudly nodded. Of course. I already know. Senior brother praises me all the time. She pointed ahead. For now, we have a checkpoint. You see that cave? You can recover there. She took him to the cave entrance and stood guard outside. You heal first, she said. I'll guard the area. Once you recover, maybe I'll rest too. But just as they were preparing to relax, a sinister voice echoed nearby. What a lovely couple. But sadly, you won't stay together for long. You really thought you could escape me? The enemy burst out laughing. You're both dead. But before he could finish, boom! A devastating attack suddenly slammed into him. The force was so terrifying that his entire world seemed to shake. He was blasted far into the distance. The one who attacked? Hong Ling. She coldly cracked her knuckles. What an arrogant idiot, she said. Get lost. Seeing this scene, Feng Wuji trembled. A healing pill slipped from his hand. His entire body shook. What the hell did I just witness? He muttered. If she was this strong, then why was she running away with me in the first place? And wait. Why is she so desperate to introduce me to her senior brother? No. Something's definitely fishy here. All the monsters kept attacking non-stop, throwing themselves at Hong Ling without pause. But the one getting truly furious was the Centipede King. Watching his forces getting slaughtered one after another made his face twist in rage. You useless trash! He roared at his subordinates. You can't even handle one girl? Are all of you completely worthless? Hurry up and kill her already! But Hong Ling was simply too powerful. She cut through them directly, crushing monsters one after another like they were nothing. Meanwhile, Feng Wuji stood there staring in complete disbelief. What the hell am I even watching? He muttered. This girl is insanely strong. If she's this strong, then why was she even running away earlier? Why didn't she just wipe them out from the start? This is seriously weird. Right before his eyes, Hong Ling continued tearing through enemies without mercy. At the same time, Hong Ling's thoughts drifted to her previous life. Back then, I was in terrible condition, she thought. When I fought these monsters in my past life, I was completely exhausted. I was about to lose. They were going to kill me. And then, someone suddenly appeared to save her. Feng Wuji. The same Feng Wuji standing beside her right now. In my previous life, he saved me here, she thought softly. He stole my heart that day. That was the first time my heart raced for someone. But this time, things will be different. I won't let history repeat itself. With that thought, she charged forward again. But suddenly, her footing slipped. An attack barely grazed her, throwing her balance off. At that exact moment, Feng Wuji rushed forward and caught her. Hey! Don't die on me! He shouted nervously. If you die, I'm completely screwed. Recover your strength. I'll handle things for now. After protecting her, Feng Wuji rushed forward into battle. Hong Ling froze. Her expression became strangely complicated. In my previous life, she thought. When he saved me, my heart raced wildly. I blushed. My chest pounded non-stop. But now, she slowly touched her chest. Why isn't my heart racing? Why don't I feel the same? What's going on? Meanwhile, Feng Wuji entered full action mode. He stepped forward and fought desperately. Little by little, he struggled against the monsters. Although it was clearly difficult for him, he still pushed himself to his limit. After spending nearly all his energy, he stumbled back toward Hong Ling. Hong Ling immediately asked, Are you okay? Feng Wuji let out a tired breath. Yeah. I'm fine. But I can't hold them off much longer. We seriously need to get out of here. But suddenly, Hong Ling struck him. Thud. Feng Wuji instantly collapsed unconscious. There, she muttered. I'm not letting history repeat itself again. It's time to leave. This guy is becoming way too much trouble. The Centipede King burst into laughter. Excellent choice, girl, he shouted. Hand that brat over to me. If you do, the monster race won't hold a grudge against you. We won't make you our enemy. Now hurry and hand him over. Hong Ling's expression instantly darkened. Hand him over? She said coldly. Oh, shut up. I'll deal with you myself. The next second. Boom! A massive explosion erupted. The shockwave instantly blew countless monsters apart. Bodies flew everywhere. The surrounding battlefield was completely wiped clean. The Centipede King's expression froze. He trembled. Holy crap! This girl is terrifying. But gritting his teeth, he roared. I'll fight to the death. You killed so many of my men! He charged forward to attack. Slap! One single strike. That was it. The Centipede King got smacked so hard that he flew into the distance like garbage. Hong Ling looked at him coldly. That hit. That was for hurting Feng. She stepped forward, clearly ready to finish him off. But the Centipede King, now terrified, hurriedly shouted. Wait! How are you this strong? If you were this powerful, why was my group chasing you around earlier? Why didn't you kill them before? Were you pretending all along? What exactly is your goal? But Hong Ling ignored him completely. She walked closer. Step by step. Like death itself approaching. The Centipede King instantly realized. I'm screwed. Meanwhile, Louis still refused to leave the cultivation pool. Not only that, he had already killed a huge number of bald Buddhist monks earlier. The leading monk glared at him furiously. What have you done? He shouted. You killed so many of my brothers. Louis lazily shrugged. Why wouldn't I? You people came here, disturbed me, and tried forcing me out. Of course I fought back. Besides, you're ridiculously stubborn. You seriously annoyed me. The monk clenched his fists. Why? Just because we disturbed your cultivation, you killed people? If we needed this place, couldn't you simply move aside? You're no different from demons. Today, we'll exterminate demons. And you're one of them. The monks instantly formed a powerful killing array. The 18 Earth Demonic Formation. A formation specifically designed to eliminate demons. Since they already mistook Louis for one, they fully activated it against him. Lu Yi's eyes slowly turned crimson. Oh? You're going to kill me? He smirked. Come then, you losers! The bald elder attacked first. The others followed. But Lu Yi was absurdly powerful. In a single move. Boom! He completely crushed the formation. The monks were blown apart instantly. One attack. That was all. Everyone died. Except one trembling monk. The monk stood frozen, shaking uncontrollably. He finally realized something terrifying. This guy. He's not normal. He's ridiculously strong. I need to run. He turned and sprinted away. But Louis simply waved dismissively. Forget it. He's basically an ant anyway. Afterward, Louis sat back down and continued cultivating peacefully. Time passed. Finally, his eyes slowly opened. I reached the 7th level of the Shattering Effect realm. Not bad. This power isn't amazing yet, but it'll definitely be useful later. Meanwhile, Hong Ling finally arrived somewhere safe with Feng Wuji. At last they were alone. But the atmosphere felt incredibly awkward. Mostly because Feng Wuji was unconscious. After some time, Feng Wuji slowly woke up. Huh? Who am I? Where am I? Wait. Did I die? Hong Ling quickly shook her head. No! You're alive. I brought you here. Feng Wuji looked confused. But how? We were trapped between monsters. How did we survive? Hong Ling lied without hesitation. My senior brother arrived in time. He killed the monster army. And then we escaped. Feng Wuji's eyes widened. Whoa! So your senior brother showed up, destroyed everyone. Then left the two of us alone together? Hong Ling looked away awkwardly. Yeah. Totally, though inside her head. That absolutely did not happen. She coughed lightly. Anyway. Now that you're awake, I should leave too. Our paths split here. Feng Wuji instantly sat up. What? Hey, what kind of nonsense is that? Hong Ling handed Feng Wuji a strange item before leaving. It looked like a small shell-shaped communication artifact, something he could use to contact her anytime. By the next morning, Hong Ling had already left. Meanwhile, Feng Wuji sat there quietly, staring at the strange object in his hand. What even is this weird thing? He muttered. He turned it around curiously. So I can actually contact Hong Ling through this? Can I really talk to her whenever I want? He scratched his head. But why would she give me something like this? Suddenly, a thought crossed his mind. Wait, does she actually like me? His eyes widened. Oh crap. If she really likes me, then what's stopping me from talking to her? Without hesitation, he activated the item. So, where are you? He asked awkwardly. What are you doing right now? Meanwhile, Hong Ling was still fighting. The secret realm had turned into complete chaos. The monster race and demon race continued attacking relentlessly, while the human race struggled to survive. After entering this continent inside the secret realm, things had become far more dangerous. Different races were clashing everywhere, and humans were under enormous pressure. That was exactly why Hong Ling stood at the front lines. She slaughtered monsters while protecting humanity, helping human cultivators safely search for treasures. While fighting, she finally replied through the communication artifact. I'm in the middle of a fight right now, she said calmly. We'll talk properly later. These demon creatures are disgusting. I still need to wipe them out. Feng Wuji instantly lit up. Wait, can I join you? If you want, I can come help. I don't really have any strong background or powerful family supporting me. Those rich clans have endless resources. But me? I only depend on myself. If I join you, maybe I can help. Inside his head, though, he had a different reason. She's ridiculously strong, he thought. If I stay with her, I'll probably get cultivation resources too. I can grow stronger and support her. Trying to sound sincere, he continued. You understand what I mean, right? If you let me join. Silence. No response. The communication artifact stayed completely quiet. Feng Wuji's face darkened. What the hell? He angrily tossed the shell aside. What kind of broken thing is this? She's not replying. Why is she ignoring me? I thought she liked me. If she likes me, then why won't she answer? And why won't she let me join her? What exactly is she trying to do? Just then, a mocking voice echoed behind him. Oh wow! Look who's daydreaming. A piece of trash actually believes the most talented and beautiful girl in the human race, Hong Ling, would fall for him? The voice laughed coldly. Brother, that kind of thing only happens in dreams. And who the hell do you think you are? Feng Wuji froze. His entire body stiffened. Standing there was the Dragon King. Fear instantly filled Feng Wuji's face. He immediately tried to leave. But it was too late. Dragon King's men surrounded him from every side, blocking every escape route. Bring him to me, Dragon King ordered coldly. Some time later, inside a cave, sounds of brutal beating echoed nonstop. Thud. Bam. Crack. So, someone asked coldly, what exactly is your relationship with Hong Ling? Speak. Feng Wuji, bruised and battered, hurriedly replied, we're just friends. And yes, the one getting beaten to hell was Feng Wuji. Inside his head, he cursed nonstop. Dragon King narrowed his eyes. Did anything happen between you two? Any touching? Feng Wuji immediately shook his head. No! Nothing happened! Dragon King's expression darkened even further. Then why the hell were you saying she likes you? If nothing happened between you two, why are you acting so confident? You shameless bastard! Feng Wuji almost cried. What kind of disaster did I get dragged into? He thought. All because of that woman. I ended up in this mess. I don't even know if I'll survive. Suddenly, Feng Wuji desperately shouted. I can lure her here. Everyone paused. I can call Hong Ling. I can hand her over to you. Just let me go afterward. You can do whatever you want with her. Kill her if you want. But I know how to lure her here. One of Dragon King's men immediately stepped forward angrily. Watch your damn mouth. Do you even know what you're saying? Feng Wuji swallowed nervously. Yes. I know exactly what I'm saying. I can do it. Dragon King silently handed him the communication shell. Meanwhile, Hong Ling suddenly heard a voice coming from the artifact. It was Feng Wuji. But he sounded badly injured. Hong Ling. I'm seriously injured. I need your help. Please come save me. Hong Ling instantly became worried. Are you okay? Where are you? On the other side, Feng Wuji nearly cried in relief. She replied, that means I can survive. He immediately lied. There's a cave near a mountain. I'm trapped. Please hurry. I really need help. Then he told her the location. But, suddenly, the scene shifted. A girl was tightly restrained from every direction. Bound completely. Unable to move. It was Hong Ling. Someone stepped through the doorway. In his hand, the exact same communication shell she had once given Feng Wuji. Without emotion, he tossed it beside her. I killed him, he said coldly. Feng Wuji is dead. You'll never see him again. The person standing there was Louis. He had already handled everything. The moment Hong Ling heard those words, she broke down crying. Senior! Why? This is all your fault. If you hadn't stopped me back then, if you hadn't trapped me, I could have saved him. You killed him! Why would you do this? Louis coldly interrupted her. Enough. If you went there, you would have died. I saved your life. That bastard only wanted to trap you. It was bait. A trap. You were going there to die. But Hong Ling refused to believe him. No! You just wanted me for yourself. That's why you killed Feng Wuji, and now you're making up excuses. This is all your fault. Louis slowly turned away. I'm sorry, he said quietly. But you don't understand. I had to do it. To save your life. Back in the present, Hong Ling remembered everything. That tragedy from her previous life. Back then, Louis had stopped her and warned her. And in the end, he had killed Feng Wuji. Looking back, Louis had actually been right. After all, the disgusting things happening behind the scenes now proved it. But Hong Ling still clenched her fists. In my previous life, Senior stopped me. He warned me. He wouldn't let me go. But this time, I'll go myself. I'll see the truth with my own eyes. Was Senior telling the truth? Or not? If Feng Wuji really betrayed me, then all of them were right. But no, he wouldn't do that. I know he wouldn't. I have to save him. Meanwhile, before leaving, Hong Ling gave orders to 2 human leaders. For now, stop launching attacks, she said firmly. Focus only on defense. Refine the treasures you've gathered. Strengthen yourselves first. One muscular cultivator frowned, but we've gained control over so much territory. If we stop fighting now, won't we fall behind? Hong Ling shook her head. If we attack recklessly, we'll all be wiped out. A strong foundation comes first. Grow stronger. Then strike. Only then can we move forward. The man hesitated. But Senior, where are you going alone? Hong Ling turned. I'm going to save someone. Don't follow me. Just do what I said. Then, after a brief pause, she added. If you're really scared, go to the cultivation pond. Ask my senior brother, Louis, to come out. He's the strongest person in this entire secret realm. He can solve every problem instantly. The man widened his eyes. He's really that strong? Hong Ling nodded. Much stronger than you can imagine. Meanwhile, Louis sat peacefully cultivating. Suddenly, the system spoke. Master, a show's about to start. Want to watch? Louis frowned. No interest. I'm cultivating. If you want entertainment, watch it yourself. The system laughed. Come on. This one's gonna be fun. We're connected anyway. Let's watch together. Louis sighed. I hate this love nonsense, in this life. I despise it. Sacrificing one person to save another. It's stupidity. Then the system suddenly projected something. Look. The heroine is heading to the exact place you stopped her from going. She's alone. Louis glanced lazily. She'll probably die. That place is full of killing formations, lock arrays, and traps. It would take a miracle to survive. I warned her. But in the previous life, she misunderstood me. This time, she'll probably die. Honestly, that's better. Still, he ended up watching anyway. The system teased him. Master, she's really going. You seriously won't save her? Louis snorted. Yeah, right, as if I care. Meanwhile, Hong Ling finally arrived at the location. She carefully looked around. I'm here, she called out. Where are you? Before she could finish. Whoosh! A sudden attack exploded toward her from behind. Hong Ling instantly turned around. The moment Hong Ling arrived, a sudden attack came flying toward her from behind. Her eyes sharpened instantly. Without hesitation, she struck back. Boom! Her counterattack landed cleanly, sending the attacker flying far into the distance. The first monster crashed heavily into the ground. Hong Ling narrowed her eyes and carefully scanned the surroundings. Something felt wrong. And then, boom! Another attack suddenly activated. But this time, it wasn't from a person. It was a formation. Exactly like Louis had warned. The entire area was layered with formation after formation, and these weren't weak traps. Every single one was terrifyingly powerful. One formation activated. Then another. Then another. The Heaven Demon Illusion Formation. The Divine Fragment Lightning Array. The Desolation Suppression Formation. One after another. 4 deadly formations activated around her. A crushing pressure descended instantly. The terrifying force pressed down on Hong Ling from every direction. Her expression changed. So, it really was a trap. Meanwhile, nearby, monsters stood watching with amused expressions. Ha! I didn't think it'd actually work. All we did was bait you, and you really came. One monster laughed mockingly. The human race's great genius fighter, Hong Ling. You're actually brainless. Humans are hilarious. The moment they fall in love, they're ready to die for someone. What stupidity! Another monster burst into laughter. The human race's top-tier expert actually got trapped because of one pretty boy from our monster race. That Fongwuji guy. He's just a pretty face. Honestly, what's so special about him? I could easily replace him. If you dump him and choose me instead. Boom! Before he could finish, an attack slammed directly into him. The one who struck? Dragon King. The monster crashed into the ground, coughing blood. Dragon King's expression was ice cold. If you don't know what you're talking about, he said furiously, then shut your mouth. Dragon King had rules, principles, and anyone who crossed the line, even his own people, wouldn't be spared. At that moment, Hong Ling finally understood everything. It really was a trap. And suddenly, her mind drifted back to her previous life. Back then, after hearing Fongwuji was in danger, she had desperately tried to leave. I have to save him, she said anxiously. But Louis blocked her path. You're not going, he said coldly. If you go, the monsters will capture you. Hong Ling had shaken her head immediately. No. It can't be a trap. Fongwuji wouldn't do something like that. And the monster race doesn't even know about our relationship. Back then, she had only just begun falling for him. After all, Fongwuji had once saved her life. She wanted to repay him. And somewhere deep down, her feelings had slowly grown into love. But Lu Yi's expression darkened. I said you're not going? Hong Ling exploded in anger. If you stop me, then I'll fight you. You're just jealous. Why are you jealous? Fongwuji is the man I chose. I'm going to save him. And if I die trying, then so be it. The moment she rushed forward, Louis knocked her unconscious from behind. Looking at her sleeping form, he sighed. What am I supposed to do with this girl? In the end, Louis made his decision. If she can't go, then I'll go myself. Back in the present, Dragon King stepped forward and smiled faintly. Want to see Fongwuji? Hong Ling immediately looked up. Show him to me. Dragon King casually threw someone onto the ground. Fongwuji. His body was covered in injuries. Bruised. Broken. Pathetic. Hong Ling's entire expression changed. You did this to him? You beat him this badly just to lure me here? Dragon King raised a hand. Whoa. You've misunderstood. I didn't beat him for contacting you. He glanced coldly at Fongwuji. This trash volunteered. He came up with the idea himself. He said he'd lure you here. He said we could bait you. He even told us we could kill you afterward. Dragon King's voice turned colder. And I hate people like that. Even monsters have principles. We have rules. That kind of betrayal disgusts me. That beating? That was punishment. Hong Ling froze. Her entire world shook. Wait. This was Fongwuji's idea? Dragon King nodded. Exactly. I told you. Even the monster race has standards. Fongwuji suddenly shouted angrily. This is your fault. He pointed at Hong Ling. I told you to bring me with you. You were strong enough to protect me. But you abandoned me. Hong Ling opened her mouth. You. Her thoughts completely collapsed. Nothing made sense anymore. But Fongwuji kept screaming. You left me behind. You selfish bitch. The words hit her like a slap. For a moment, even she froze. Then Hong Ling gritted her teeth and looked toward Dragon King. Fine. Just don't kill him. For my sake. I'll fight you. Just let him go. Meanwhile, far away, Lu Yi watched everything through the system. He raised an eyebrow. Impressive. I didn't think she'd improve her cultivation this quickly. She's honestly a genius. At this rate, she'll survive for a little while. Unless a miracle happens, she'll eventually lose. The system immediately laughed. Oh wow. You complimented your enemy? Louis rolled his eyes. Whatever. Then the system suddenly asked. Now that she knows the truth, will she become like Chu Ling? Begging, apologizing, trying to come back? Louis shook his head. No. Not yet. Her heart hasn't completely shattered. Not like Chu Ling's did. She hasn't broken enough for that. So no. I doubt she'll act like that. He stretched lazily. Anyway, my cultivation matters more. At that exact moment, a surge of power erupted. Lu Yi's eyes slowly opened. 9th level. Shattering effect realm. A faint smile appeared on his face. Nice. I'm way stronger than before. Meanwhile, Hong Ling was still fighting desperately. Completely exhausted. Yet still refusing to fall. She activated her destruction shield, blocking attack after attack while cutting down monsters endlessly. But nearby, Dragon King stood watching. One of his followers whispered nervously. If we let her survive, if she keeps growing, she'll become a disaster for the entire monster clan. Dragon King clicked his tongue. You know what pisses me off? The human race. No matter what, they always produce some ridiculous genius. Someone absurdly strong. Someone capable of wrecking us. He clenched his fist. Honestly, I'm jealous. But today, she dies. I've decided. No one is saving her. He raised his hand. Prepare the formations. Don't give her even a second to breathe. Attack nonstop. Keep exhausting her until she falls. Boom! Another formation attack slammed into Hong Ling. Her entire body trembled violently. She dropped to one knee, but before another monster could charge her. Slash! Hong Ling instantly activated Divine Light Seal. The monster's head flew clean off. The surrounding monsters stared in horror. What the hell? What kind of monster is this woman? She's been fighting forever. She still hasn't collapsed. She's terrifying. But Dragon King shouted coldly. Charge again. We attack together. Another terrifying formation activated. An overwhelming blast rushed toward Hong Ling. This time, she felt helpless. Weak. Powerless. And suddenly, a thought crossed her mind. In my previous life, Senior came here alone. How? How did he handle all of this by himself? How did Senior survive something this terrifying? After seeing all of this and realizing how much she was suffering, memories from her previous life suddenly began to return to her. She remembered how, when her senior brother Louis had staggered back that day, he could barely even stand. He had been so badly injured that he could not even walk properly. He had crawled forward and fallen directly onto his knees. As he collapsed, he had said, "Look, I already finished off your lover. And on top of that, the entire place was a trap." He had explained everything that had happened, but she had refused to believe him. Instead, hatred for her senior brother began to grow inside her heart. And it was from that moment that her plans to betray him slowly began. Meanwhile, in the present, a powerful bolt of thunder suddenly struck Hong Ling. Hong Ling endured the attack as she was blasted far into the distance. Tears filled her eyes. At that moment, she finally understood. Senior brother, you knew. You knew it was a trap. Yet you still came here without any hesitation. But why? Why did you come to this place? The reason was simple. He had only come because she was here. Even if there was only a tiny chance she might believe him, he still wanted to investigate the situation himself and solve the problem. But what he never expected was that so many deadly traps had still remained hidden in that place. At that moment, the the Dragon King personally stepped onto the battlefield. He clenched his fist and punched directly toward Hong Ling. The impact sent her flying backward before she crashed heavily into a giant rock. Blood spilled from her mouth as pain surged throughout her body. She dropped to her knees. At the same time, a strange monster slowly approached her. Laughing cruelly, it said, "The number one genius of the human race will die by my hands today." Drawing its sword, it rushed toward her. When Hong Ling saw the monster approaching, she suddenly laughed. "You don't have the ability to kill me." She grabbed the monster's head. Before it could even understand what was happening, its head exploded. Using her shattering seal, she instantly blew it apart. The moment the Dragon King saw this scene, he became furious. Opening his mouth, he unleashed a terrifying flame attack. The attack struck Hong Ling directly. She screamed in pain before crashing toward the ground once again. She could no longer even stand. She kept coughing blood while struggling to breathe. The Dragon King looked down at her and sneered. "The number one beauty of the human race. The number one human genius. What a foolish woman you were. But now it's finally time for you to die. In this life, you made a huge mistake. However, before you die, let me give you one piece of advice. If there is a next life, never trust love. Love is nothing but betrayal." The moment he finished speaking, he threw a devastating punch. The attack slammed directly into Hong Ling's chest. The impact launched her into the air. Despite her severe injuries, Hong Ling suddenly laughed. "I should be the one telling you that. The moment you came close enough to punch me, your death was already guaranteed. Your death was always destined to be written by my hands." At that same moment, she launched her own attack. Before the Dragon King could even react, his head exploded into countless pieces. Even while receiving fatal injuries herself, she had continued killing her enemies. That had been her strategy from the very beginning. Now, however, all of her strength had finally run out. As she knelt there, barely alive, she thought to herself, "Senior brother, how could this be? How could this be possible? You suffered through this kind of pain in your previous life. Just experiencing it myself feels like it's tearing my life away. You did so much for me in that life, but I never gave you even a single chance. If only I had listened to your explanation. You tried to tell me the truth, but I refused to believe you. I was such a fool." Regret completely consumed her. She continuously apologized to her senior brother in her heart. However, her senior brother was currently watching everything from far away through the power of the system. The spectators were completely confused. "Is this girl crazy? She killed the boss and now she's crying?" Someone replied. "No, she's crying because of Louis." "No way. I'm telling you, she's definitely crying because of Louis." At the same time, Louis was also watching through the system. The system suddenly asked, "Did she survive?" Louis shook his head. "No chance. Absolutely no chance. Even if she managed to kill the Dragon King, she'll still die today. She is definitely finished." However, the next second, Louis was stunned. "Wait a minute, what is that?" A massive shadow suddenly began forming above Hong Ling. It took the shape of a giant bird. Louis's eyes widened in shock. "That woman? What is she doing here? That's the Vermilion Bird. What is she doing in this life? In my previous life, where was she?" The moment the Vermilion Bird appeared, she immediately began attacking. Meanwhile, the surrounding enemies shouted, "She is crying! She has no strength left! Kill her now!" Numerous enemies charged forward. At the same time, the massive formation unleashed another attack. However, the Vermilion Bird blocked the entire assault by herself. When Hong Ling looked up, she saw countless blazing attacks raining down from the sky. The attacks struck the monster race one after another. The monsters were shocked. Where did this woman come from? Finally, her true appearance was revealed. She was the same woman who had been standing behind the other girls at the very beginning. Looking at Hong Ling, she smiled and said, "Wow! You actually look pretty cute when you're crying. Don't cry anymore. I'm here now. I'm here to save you, my dear." She stood proudly in front of everyone while staring toward the enemy army. The members of the monster race instantly recognized her. You betrayed us! You betrayed the monster race! The Vermilion Bird coldly replied. You are merely spirit-level servants. How dare you speak to me like that? You think you have the right to question me? The moment she finished speaking, she rushed forward. Her speed was overwhelming. She tore through countless enemies before arriving beside Hong Ling. Looking at her, she said, My little sister, you really look terrible right now. Here, take some of my blood essence. It will be enough to save your life. You'll be able to catch your breath and recover later. At that moment, Hong Ling finally understood how Louis had survived this exact situation in the previous life. Louis possessed 9 lives. Back then, he had sacrificed one of them and managed to escape. Now everything finally made sense. Meanwhile, the monsters continued shouting. Do you even understand the consequences? She is the #1 human genius. She is the greatest enemy of the monster race. The human race and monster race can never coexist peacefully. And yet you're trying to save her? Do you know how terrible the consequences will be? Leave right now. Hand her over. We'll pretend that nothing happened. At that moment, another terrifying attack descended from the formation. The attack was called Divine Punishment. The Vermilion Bird looked toward Hong Ling. Are you ready? Hong Ling nodded. Yes. I'm ready. The two immediately combined their powers. The Vermilion Bird lifted Hong Ling and flew into the sky. At the same time, she unleashed an incredibly powerful strike. The attack collided directly with Divine Punishment. In an instant, the terrifying formation attack was completely shattered. Its entire power was blown apart into countless fragments. The Vermilion Bird successfully rescued Hong Ling and flew away from the battlefield. As they were leaving, all the demons below were cursing the human race. At the same time, they were also cursing the Vermilion Bird from their own tribe. She betrayed our race at the most critical moment. She is a traitor. This is the greatest act of betrayal. The consequences of this will be terrible. Meanwhile, as the Vermilion Bird carried Hong Ling through the sky, she asked, Where do you want to go now? Hong Ling immediately replied, Take me to the Heavenly Spirit Pool. The scene then shifted to the Heavenly Spirit Pool. Louis was calmly cultivating there. At that moment, the system suddenly spoke. Host, they have arrived. Soon, Hong Ling appeared before him. The moment she saw him, she immediately fell to her knees. While kneeling, tears streamed down her face. I was wrong. I was wrong. I want to apologize to you. Even the Vermilion Bird was shocked after seeing this. What the hell is going on? She is actually begging for forgiveness? However, when the Vermilion Bird carefully looked at Louis, she froze. Her eyes widened. Yes, it's him. It really is him. Suddenly, memories from the distant past began flooding back into her mind. Back then, countless members of her clan had hunted her down. Their mission was simple. Capture her alive. If they succeeded, they would receive a reward from the Spirit Demon Emperor. Not only that, but her bloodline itself was an extremely valuable treasure. Anyone who obtained her bloodline would receive enormous benefits. Because of those rewards, countless people had chased after her relentlessly. While escaping from her pursuers, she accidentally bumped into someone. She fell to the ground. When she looked up, she saw Louis standing there. Back then, Louis had smiled and said, Little bird, it looks like you're in danger. From today onward, you're my pet. I'll protect you. At that time, the pursuers immediately shouted, Louis! Hand over that traitor of the demon race. She betrayed us. Give her to us. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe. We already have a huge grudge against you. If you interfere again, our hatred will become even deeper. Louis simply smiled. So what? And who gave you the courage to make demands in front of me? You want me to hand this woman over? Dream on. The next second, he drew his sword. I'll kill every single one of you today. Not one of you will escape. As Louis prepared to slaughter them all, The Vermilion Bird hurriedly stepped forward. Please don't kill them. They belong to my race. The Spirit Demon Emperor is manipulating them. That is why they were chasing me. Louis frowned. The Spirit Demon Emperor? What kind of thing is that? Then he looked at the crowd before him. These people all have the potential to become future Spirit Demon Emperors. They could become an even greater threat to the human race. I can't allow another disaster to be born. So they must die. The moment he finished speaking, he began slaughtering them. One after another, the members of her race were killed. The Vermilion Bird could only watch helplessly. She had merely wanted to escape. Yet Louis had practically wiped out her entire race for her sake. When the massacre finally ended, she collapsed onto her knees. Her emotions were in complete chaos. Should she thank him? Or should she hate him? She could not figure it out. However, from that day onward, hatred toward Louis slowly began growing inside her heart. Back in the present, Hong Ling was still kneeling. She continued begging for forgiveness. I was wrong. I should have trusted you from the beginning. I never even gave you a chance to explain. I poisoned you immediately. I insulted you countless times afterward. Please forgive me. Louis watched her with an amused expression. You know, seeing you beg like this actually feels pretty satisfying. Keep apologizing. Go on. Continue. In my previous life, I did so much for all of you. And this is what I got in return. But don't worry. I won't let any of you go. The moment my power returns, I'll personally cut off every one of your heads. The Vermilion Bird immediately frowned. What is wrong with you? Have you gone crazy? Look at her. She is kneeling in front of you. She is begging for forgiveness. Look at the condition she's in. And you still refuse to forgive her? Louis turned toward her coldly. You've got a lot of courage talking to me like that. Forget about them. Tell me something first. What poison did you give me in my previous life? The moment she heard the question, the Vermilion Bird became depressed. After a long silence, she finally answered. I gave you the blood lotus heart poison. Louis narrowed his eyes. Explain. The Vermilion Bird nodded. When someone wants to kill others, the blood lotus heart poison amplifies those desires countless times. It causes the victim to torture their enemies endlessly. You won't stop until your target is completely destroyed. And after that, you'll continue doing the same thing to others. Eventually, your mind becomes unstable. Your heart suffers tremendous damage. And in the end, you die from your own slaughter. The more you kill, the faster you approach your own death. After hearing this explanation, Louis laughed coldly. Wow! You women really know how to play cruel games. The Vermilion Bird replied. Yes, I do. You loved killing people, didn't you? So I helped fulfill your wish. You slaughtered my entire demon race, and I wanted you to die while doing exactly the same thing. The moment Louis heard that, a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. Get out. Leave immediately. From this day onward, don't ever appear before me again. If I see you again, I'll kill you on the spot. Also, I forgive you both. His expression became extremely serious. Hong Ling was still trying to apologize. However, Louis interrupted her. It seems neither of you understands. I already said I forgive you. Now get out. If you don't leave, I'll kill both of you. The moment he finished speaking, he unleashed a deadly attack. The attack shot directly toward Hong Ling. If it hit her, she would undoubtedly die. Yet Hong Ling didn't move. She remained kneeling there. Even she seemed shocked. Fortunately, the Vermilion Bird reacted instantly. She grabbed Hong Ling and pulled her away just in time. The attack barely missed. The Vermilion Bird shouted, Have you gone insane? You were seriously trying to kill her. Without waiting for an answer, she immediately carried Hong Ling away. We need to leave. This guy has completely lost his mind. He'll really kill you. As the two women disappeared into the distance, Louis finally relaxed. For the first time in a long while, he felt relieved. Good. They finally left. Meanwhile, Hong Ling remained silent and depressed during the entire journey. The Vermilion Bird eventually asked, "Why are you still sad? He just tried to kill you. That attack was absolutely real. It was strong enough to kill you. He didn't show even the slightest trace of affection from your previous life. You were his lover, weren't you? He looked completely determined to kill you. What kind of man is he?" Hong Ling lowered her head and smiled bitterly. "He has every right to do that. In my previous life, I attacked him first. I knew he was my lover. I knew he was my Tao companion. I knew he was my senior brother. And yet I still tried to kill him. So it's completely normal for him to hate me. If he wants to kill me, I deserve it. No matter how he does it." At the same time, Louis remained extremely serious. And if given the opportunity, he truly could kill them. And he probably would. Then the 1 billion bird looked at Hong Ling and asked, "By the way, tell me carefully about Feng Wucai. How could you fall for such a cowardly member of the monster race?" Hong Ling sighed and replied, "I don't know either. Maybe liking someone is just an illusion." The 1 billion bird then began revealing the truth about Feng Wucai. That guy had a terrible reputation within the monster race. He cheated and deceived countless people. Many women of the monster race, especially those with the phoenix bloodline, wanted to marry him and bear his children, but he only took advantage of them. The moment Hong Ling heard this, she was completely shocked. She immediately asked, "Why didn't you tell me this in the past life?" The 1 billion bird calmly replied, "I didn't participate in that battle during the past life either. Otherwise I would have died back then as well." Hearing that, Hong Ling lowered her head and said sadly, "What should I do to make senior brother forgive me?" After that, the scene shifted. A large number of cultivators had gathered together, discussing the recent events. One of them said, "I heard Hong Ling was besieged alone by more than 100 foreign race heavens chosen, and she counter-killed over half of them. Later, someone from the monster race rescued her." Another cultivator added, "Yeah, but the rescuer's identity is still unknown." At that moment, one cultivator smashed a huge boulder into pieces with a single punch. His name was Feng Longxiang. With an angry expression, he declared, "This has gone too far. Everyone, gather up! Monster race, demon race, god race, ghost race, kill them all!" With those words, he united all the cultivators around him and prepared them for battle. Meanwhile, Lu Yi was still quietly cultivating. He muttered to himself, "The 4th, 5th, and 6th layers have all opened. Every heavens chosen under the age of 50 can enter." Then he slowly opened his eyes and smiled. "It's time for me to change locations." The system immediately asked, "Host, where are you going?" Lu Yi answered, "I'm going to cultivate beneath the Tao Comprehension Tree on the 6th layer. The effects there are even better than the Heavenly Spirit Pool," the system reminded him. "But the teleportation point to the 6th layer isn't in this direction, right?" Lu Yi calmly replied, "I need to kill someone first." The system instantly understood and asked, "Tu Wing? The demon race member who slaughtered over 100 human race heavens chosen in the past life?" "That's right," Lu Yi answered. "This time, I'm going to strike first." After saying that, he immediately set off. Some time later, he arrived at another location. The moment he landed, he drew his sword and quietly waited. The demon race heavens chosen should arrive soon. He had already prepared himself. Just then, a member of the demon race appeared. It was Yian, the son of the heavenly demon emperor. Lu Yi recognized him immediately and thought, "It's the son of the heavenly demon emperor Yian." Yian also noticed Lu Yi and became slightly cautious. "A human? What is he doing here? We don't know his exact strength. It's better to be careful." Then he politely asked, "Human race heavens chosen, may I ask what business you have at our demon race teleportation site?" Lu Yi answered coldly, "It's none of your business. Step aside so you don't get accidentally injured." Yian was stunned. He frowned and asked, "Do you even know who I am?" However, behind Yian, another figure was quietly approaching, something he had not noticed at all. At that very moment, Lu Yi suddenly moved at incredible speed because his true target had finally arrived. He flashed past Yan, and his sword sliced through the air right beside Yan's ear. Then, without hesitation, he attacked another demon race cultivator standing behind him. That person was the Heaven's Chosen known as Tu Wing. Lu Yi's strike landed instantly, killing him on the spot. Tu Wing looked at him in disbelief and shouted with his dying breath. "No! You didn't kill the Heavenly Demon Emperor's son, but you killed me instead!" The next second, he collapsed to the ground with a loud thud. When Yan realized that the person behind him had been another demon race member, he was completely stunned. Panicking, he yelled, "Don't! If he's the one killing you, don't drag me into this! You're trying to get me killed just to silence the witness!" But Lu Yi paid him almost no attention. He simply replied, "Not interested." After saying those two words, he turned around and walked away. Only after Lu Yi had disappeared did Yan finally breathe a sigh of relief. "That scared me to death." Just then, another demon race member named Jiang arrived. Looking around in confusion, he asked, "Why is it only you here? Where's Tu Wing?" A moment later, he spotted Tu Wing's lifeless body lying on the ground. His eyes widened in shock as he pointed at the corpse. "Tu Wing is dead! Did you do this?" Yan hurriedly shook his head. "Of course not. It was a human." Jiang frowned and asked, "A human? Then why didn't he kill you along with him?" Yan became furious. "What do you mean by that? Am I the one who actually deserves to die?" Jiang simply sighed. "I finally understand now why our demon race suffered such a tragic defeat." Yan had no response and remained silent. The scene then shifted back to Lu Yi. He had already arrived at the Tao comprehension area, where an enormous ancient tree towered over everything around it. Suddenly, Lu Yi sensed something unusual. He could feel the ghost race approaching. The color of the sky gradually changed, and eerie green energy spread across the heavens in every direction. Instead of being worried, Lu Yi smiled with excitement. He slowly unsheathed his sword once again and declared, "Come out, everyone!" At that moment, countless ghost race spirits charged toward him, launching a full-scale attack. But Lu Yi had no intention of holding back. He unleashed his power and swung his sword repeatedly, cutting through the ghostly figures one after another and completely destroying them. Within a short time, every last ghost had been wiped out. After eliminating them all, Lu Yi calmly walked beneath the massive Tao comprehension tree, sat down peacefully, and began comprehending the Tao.